Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Oh, for Trump's sake.
Is that correct?
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
Alrighty. I'm messing everything up this morning. I apologize. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Great to have you here today. Welcome. Come on in. I'm running a little bit on Rob time today. A little tiny bit. Welcome, sample user. Once again, it's always great to start the day with some positive feedback from sample user. But what's better than that is having Golden Girl be first in chat this morning. Congratulations, Golden Girl. You are the winner once again. It's been a while. It has been a while since you won. But you have won before. I checked your record, basically. You've got a rap sheet. It's respectable. It's lengthy. You've got a little bit of street cred when it comes to internet ownership. So congratulations there. Appreciate you being first in chat.
Roaches fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who won.
Don't know who won? Have to watch the end of the video. Let's see. I was actually listening to that audio clip, seeing if I wanted to. Why am I hearing myself? Oh, my speakers are on in here. That's why I'm hearing myself. Okay. All right. I was listening to that audio clip with Judge Boyd, just seeing if I wanted to make another sound clip from that. And I wanted to listen just briefly to the entire thing. Hang on.
Get it?
Oh, man.
Yeah, somebody else had that on. I don't know if they're washing uniforms at the jail or not. I know they're not using Downy. I know they're just using detergent that says detergent on the box. And if you have an allergic reaction to that, that's on you. Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won, but I mean, the bunch of roaches fighting. They send me video of no ceiling towel. Is that the way you want to live your life?
Of course not.
I have students that I teach in college. I always take them to a tour of the jail because I tell them, if you want to be a defense attorney or prosecutor, you need to know where you're sending people. So we always go to the jail. They're astounded. I know that when you're at the jail and you need bathroom tissue to use, you have to ask for it. If they tell you 2 squares, like from Seinfeld, where Elaine was like, all I need is a square. That's all they give you, a square. And it's the same thing for the ladies. 2 squares, here you go. Me, I prefer the mint method where you just, that doesn't happen at the jail. So here's.
All right, so there's the full soundbite. Love Judge Boyd on the wisdom she dishes out. Thank you. Anyway, Golden Girl, appreciate you being willing to be first in chat and taking on the responsibility of internet ownership. Congratulations once again. We depend on you to make everything happen. This will be great. Don't worry about it. Lauren Janai, welcome to the gallery. Great to have you as a member. Thank you so much for joining us with as a member, and take your seat in the front row. Golden Girl says, my first grandson. Why did I say reaction? My first grandson was born Friday, making him an RA already. There you go. That's awesome. Golden Girl, congratulations on 12 months. Congratulations on being a grandma, too. That is awesome. Congratulations on 12 months of support on the channel. It's been wonderful. It would not be the same without you here. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a busy day, but ironically, we're going to take it slow this morning. Let's see. We have a buffer for birthdays. I was actually following along. I got Taylor, Taminator, Yaku, Vanessa, and Love Trial's son. Taylor, Taminator, Yaku, Vanessa, and Love Trial's son. I got every single one on my list already, Sharon. Count this as a first for me. Let's see. We're going to sing happy birthday to those who are celebrating their birthday today. I realize Yaku is going out to celebrate soon, so we have to hurry and sing before he leaves for dinner, which I imagine he's getting free pancakes. at Denny's. I believe that's where he's headed. Let's see. Lauren Janai is the wife of Tucker. Oh, wonderful. Hey, Lauren, welcome. Welcome. Great to have you here. We've got some. I've got some strong opinions that I've been sharing. Hopefully you don't find any of that offensive. I continue to share my opinions. We like to see somebody exercising their rights, but I do still feel that Tucker might be served best, and maybe there's something I don't understand about the situation, but might be served best by having an attorney, just because of the procedures in the courtroom. Let's see. We have we're gonna sing Happy Birthday, which we do every morning. Holly Hunter Yeager. Is it Hunter Yeager? I see Holly Hunter Yeager. I'm going to say that. It's a little bit tough for me to spit that out, but welcome to the channel as well. We're going to do Happy Birthday. The way this works is not me singing Happy Birthday to some of our great friends who are celebrating their birthday today. This is us singing Happy Birthday, and it's a group thing. And you think I can't hear, but I can. That's why I have these great big earphones on. But we have an expectation that everyone participates in this, and I realize some of you are at work, and you might be in a cubicle, and you're looking over your neighbors, like typing quietly, and it's quiet this morning. Everyone's just sipping their coffee and catching up on the email. I'm sorry. This is sing-along time, and this is the time. If you have to hum because you're in a library or something, or in the middle of a test at school, I will give you an exception for that. But everyone else needs to be singing. So remember your parts. Shoulders back. Take deep breaths. Warm up with me. La 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 la. We're gonna sing to Taminator, Taylor, Yaku, Vanessa, and Love Trial's son. Here we go. Blend your voices, everybody. Blend your voices. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Taminator, Taylor, Yaku, Vanessa, and Love Trial's son. Happy birthday to you. That was good. I can tell you guys have been practicing. That was wonderful. You guys did a great job. Great job. Oh man, do we have onesies? We need to get some onesies available in the merch shop. I think they would be a hit. They'd be a hit. All right, happy birthday to everyone who's celebrating a birthday. I realize there are many places you could be to celebrate your birthday, and many people who want to celebrate your birthday with you, but no, you have chosen to be here with us, and that is not lost on me. Thank you so much. Hopefully we make your day a little bit better, and enjoy your celebration, whatever you do. Happy birthday. All right, we have a couple things we're going to talk about. Before we get to the Treehouse trial, which is starting at 1:00, the judge has a full docket this morning of other trials. He's got other cases, things that need to be updated. The process of getting to trial is a long process, and it has many appearances in court. Other people have those other appearances going on right now, so it's not another trial going on this morning, but it's the lead up to a trial, or initial appearances, or hearing some motions, or all that's happening in the judge's courtroom. So we won't be picking up the Treehouse murder trial until 1:00 this afternoon. I realize that some people were really frustrated with that trial. I was very frustrated with the judge because I think he's made some wrong rulings, specifically when he objected, or when he overruled Mr. Tucker's timely and proper objection about leading the witness, and the judge said, no, it's okay, it's on cross, and it was not on cross, it was on redirect, and they are not allowed to lead. They have been leading this whole time. I mean, I would not be surprised if defense walks into the court with a halter and a rope, because that's how much they've been leading the witnesses. Just attach it to the witness's head and walk around the courtroom, having them parade them around, whatever they're saying. They have been leading this entire trial, and needs to be shut down. Anyway, so a couple things before they disappear. Holly, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. Make sure you take your seat on the front row. Your car's extended warranty is still trying to reach me. So this yellow looks good on you. Thank you very much. Your car's extended warranty. Love your name as well. Taminator gives away a birthday gift on her birthday. Thank you very much, Taminator, for that. Congratulations on your birthday, and thanks for being here for months of support. I'm missing text messages as well. Sorry. Mrs. Brownstone says, I'm an RA closet addict. I sneak my membership. My teasing teenagers are like, you're a member of any channels? And you're like, no. So you haven't come out of the closet yet. What's going to happen is they're going to find us, and they're going to become members, and they're like, Mom, is that you? Maisla gifted a membership as well this morning. Thank you, Maisla. Appreciate that. You guys are great. Lots of birthdays, lots of things. Oh, tonight, I have to remind you this morning. We're going to break for lunch a little early because we have to be back before 1 for the Treehouse trial to catch up on that. Before we do that, though, I have to remind you tonight is podcast night. And Thomas, our good friend Thomas, who's my podcast partner, is out and about. Okay, he's out on I think he's traveling. Let's put it that way. I'll let him share details if he chooses to. We are still going to try to pull this off tonight, which means I am going to try to shoulder the heavy burden that he.
Roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
Thank you, Judge Boyd. I'm going to try to shoulder the heavy burden that he bears every week of coming up with the rundown for our playlist. So I'm putting that together in the background. So if I seem a little distracted, that is what is happening. In the world of true crime, lots of things are happening.
Someone with more experience.
Lots of things are going on. Sorry, these sound effects are going to kill me. There's a ton. There's a ton, and we're not covering most of it. It's how it works. Unfortunately, we have 2 eyes and 2 ears, and there are more than that court cases going on. So I realize
kick back, taking it easy.
If your favorite or pet trial is not the one we're covering, I do apologize. We do like to cover as much as possible. There are some that are just too difficult to cover because the topics are very challenging for our community to sit through. Most of them involve child SA or things along that nature. Anytime kids are involved, it's a very difficult trial. So, yes, we know that that stuff is happening in trials like that today that we will not be covering.
Is that correct?
Let's see. Angela says, have you checked the email I sent you about the case I mentioned? Yes, but then I also stopped reading the email at one point, and then my brain went blank.
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible.
I did want to tell you a story, just very briefly about hang on, let me pull it back up here. About a court case out of Germany that's going on right now. And this came to us courtesy from Little Miss. Little Miss, thank you so much for this one. This is a bizarre trial that's starting. I wish there was a feed. Obviously, it would be in German, so we need translators. It would be a little hard to watch. But this case, you've got a woman who goes online, like Instagram, to find her doppelganger. A doppelganger is a lookalike, somebody who looks just like her. Okay, and you know where this is going already. But yes, she finds someone who looks very much like her, and they start messaging each other. And she lures this woman out into the woods with her boyfriend, meaning the woman and her boyfriend lures the doppelganger out into the woods, and they kill her. They place her in the woman's car, the first woman's car, and this is all in an attempt to stage her own death. So she thought, if I just find somebody who looks like me, put them in my car, they'll be like, yep, that's her. And then she can get out of this family drama that she's in because of a failed relationship. I'm not sure if she just didn't know about DNA or just didn't think they would do any checks to make sure this is actually, we got the right person. They're just, usually they don't ID people by the license plate of their car. But she got busted. The police, initially the family thought it was her and thought she was dead. But the police did a quick check and they're like, wait, something's not right here. And just absolutely bizarre. So trials beginning in Germany for that one. Wow. What a case. What a case. Chris Wallace gifted 1 membership this morning. Thank you very much, Chris. And Princess Buttercup comes in this morning and says, can I get a Law 101 t-shirt? Buttercup says, rough. That is a great idea. Law 101. I went to YouTube for Law 101. Luca says, oh, yes, I heard about that. Maybe we Germans can send some translated info to the mods on Discord. I would love to keep up to date on that, Luca. This trial is bizarre. I mean, if it happened in the U.S., we would be all over this. I realize it would be a little challenging with the language barrier, and I don't know if Germany has the same access to the court system, if they're open like they are here, or some of them are here. But so anyway, podcast tonight, 8 p.m. Yes, it's the regular time. We believe Weather Watch is going to try to make it. I think it's going to be all right, and we hope you can all be here as well. Let's see. Culperistic says, all right, everyone knows that identifying deceased is like buying alcohol at a liquor store. Just a quick visual match and you're good to go. Yep, it's got the pirate on the front. This must be the right one. Sarah Boone pushed back again. Yes, oh my goodness. Do you think she should represent herself at this point? I don't think so. And Tiffany, the reason why I think that is because I've read her letters, and I believe she has a disconnect between reality. It's, yeah. Let's see. Mod chat, please. Amber, I'm going to jump to mod chat. All right. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Angela says, clearly, you clearly have never visited Europe, or at least here in Sweden. You, as a private citizen, you can look up the license plate. I've been to Norway. I've never been to Sweden. But spent 10 or so weeks in Norway and loved it. Well, I've been there twice. Once as a younger child, once as a young adult. And I'll say I've been there long enough, Angela. I've been there long enough that I won second place in a beauty contest in Norway. No, I kid you not. I won second place in a beauty contest. My aunt, who was Norwegian, took us out to the beach, and we were fishing for crabs. You'd catch a mussel and tie it on a string, and you'd smash it with a rock so it was sort of open, and you'd dip it down in the seaweed, and you'd catch little crabs. We were playing with little crabs you can catch along the shore. My aunt took a picture of me holding up a crab, wearing little white. They were boys' shorts, but I don't know what else to call them other than boy shorts, which typically means they're worn by girls. But they're the smallest pair of white shorts that a kid has ever worn. So here's me as a kid holding the first crab I've ever pulled out of the water up in front of the camera, grinning like I'm, just won the lottery. And she snapped my picture and submitted it into a national photo contest and took second place. I lost to some baby birds in a nest. The only reason I lost, the judges said, was because my toes were not in the picture. Because I had 1 foot forward on a rock and my toes were out of the picture. But I do have that picture somewhere. I've got to dig it up. So I like to say that I won second place in a beauty contest. So Weather Watch is not under the weather. Weather Watch is out in the weather. He's traveling out and about. We need to see this picture ASAP. Debbie, I've got to dig deep to find this. It might be something my family has. Man. Anyway, we'll go. I'll see if I can find it. All right. Let's see. Congratulations on the second place. Yes, I never expect to win first place in that contest. The prize is $10 in Monopoly, says Greeners. So where do I get my $10? In Norwegian, it would be crowns, krone, which I don't know what the exchange rate is, but still, it's not very much. Might buy me some milk or chocolate or something. Let's see. Angela says, this case that I sent you is about the DB tuber case, not a case from my neighbor country. Is that... Okay, I got something from that, and then I got distracted. Let's see. Let me look really quickly on the email. Searching tuber. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. It was an old case. Let me pull it up. Just 1 second.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know who won.
Oh. Let's see. That was the bank heist that made a splash. The story changed over and over. I'll have to reread this one. It's an old one. Typically, the older ones we have a hard time getting any video or anything from. So covering an old trial is hard, but it might be an interesting read either way, Angela. I've got it pulled up here. I'll save it on my phone and I'll read it again. I started reading your email, which was short, and I got distracted by something else. Let's see. I hope you show Jose Baez in a new trial that starts this month. Who's he representing again? I forget who that trial is, but he's back in court. Heat wave 23. Didn't even need a jacket this morning, says Sophia. So you're just what 9 degrees below freezing. Yes, very much a squirrel moment. What do you think of the Maya rulings for Judge Carroll? Hey, Joe, let's go. We read those the other day together, and wow. I do think he did reduce the award amount by more than I thought he would. I thought it would be maybe 20 million, and it looks like he probably went a little more than double that. Took it down by about 50 million or 50 or 60 in that range. So he was a little more generous to the defense than I was, but apparently he understands the law better than I do, which is why he's the judge and I am not. And but amazing job. I think he was very thorough. A few typos. I think he needs probably to proofread some of his documents a little bit better, or have his assistants proofread them. I mean, like getting CRPS wrong. It's things like that you should catch. Let's see. Okay. Was that the contest kind of like the best costume contest from the perspective of the other reindeer? It was like that one. I guess I've won 3 contests. 2 of them were Halloween. Well, one was Halloween, one was Christmas, and one was a beauty contest. Sorry if being annoying, says Reverend Beasy. And you saw me asking previously, but did you see Beasy and Pickle in the snow? Reverend Beasy, I think I did. I think you texted me a picture. Is that not what happened? Let's see. You said they went out in the snow. Let me find it. Yes. Here's what I said. The top picture. Great depth of field. I'm not sure what camera you used for this. I think it might have been a cell phone, but great use of depth of field. Little tiny short focus. I love that. Let me see if I can get through some stuff. We might show those here in a little bit. Norway is my dream country to go to. My grandparents are Norwegians, says Tammy Dunlap. One of my grandparents is Norwegian. Well, nope. I take that back. Due to you know how there's drama in court. Sometimes in family, the pedigree charts, you might fill out the pedigree chart and think, oh, that's cool. This is where my ancestry is. And then you find out that a branch that you've been retreating back on towards the trunk actually is not connected to the trunk at all. And we found out in our family that where we thought we were connected was not actually how it happened. And so my connection to Norway, even though I've been there twice, is actually not the connection I thought it was. I'm much more Welsh than I am Norwegian, and found out we had some family in actually some down in New Zealand that we didn't know we had once we made all the proper connections. That was a fun discovery. All right, let's see. We have where are we at? We're trying to do some court hopping today. I think is Judge Boyd live already? There's no way she's live. How is she? She's in Texas. She should not be live yet. Okay, that just hasn't updated. Okay, let's see where we have. We have Lenise Bryant, 339-36 District. This is a new one that I have not been following before. You guys said she's a great judge. We're gonna jump for just a minute into this trial.
Required at any future
court.
dates, but you're not required at the April 18th date. Anything further with respect to Ms. Bentley's case?
Nothing from the future judge.
All right. Then we're all set until April 18th at 9 o'clock. Have a great day. Stay safe.
You too, God bless.
Thank you.
Oh, well, we found out Ms. Bentley has a court case, but I think that's all we get to see. Yep. Is there another court case?
All right, Mr. Cannon, are you ready on Jones?
This is the state of Michigan.
Mr. Jones brought up a unique concern regarding this case. So before we move forward, I was wondering if I could get connected with the prosecutor and to consider further negotiation, and then talk to Mr. Jones subsequently.
I'm confused. Was it Mr. Jones, Mr. Flanagan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, never mind. I do remember. Sure, I suppose. Ms. Ritter, I'm sending him to number 19.
Okay, Judge.
Thanks for the accommodation.
All right, we're trying to see what's going on here, see if there's something we
Judge,
can follow.
before I leave, I do have one question. For that amended complaint, do I just send it straight to Mr. Flanagan for that name?
And did I ignore you?
Yeah, and then he can send it down to docket management or whatever, whoever puts it in. Yeah, send it to him.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we put up on the screen the super
And the
sticker.
person on the
Thank you
iPhone,
so
please
much.
unmute and state your name.
Nicole Green.
Nicole Green is here. See if they have anything that's
Ms.
going
Green,
on
I'm
this
going
morning.
to send you to a breakout room, ma'am. Please accept to join the breakout room and wait for the lawyers to come in to speak with you. Do not leave the breakout room until you have spoken with the lawyer. Please pay attention to your screen and accept to join breakout room number 6.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, we have so many hearings going on today. We've got the Delphi hearing. Is Daybell going on in a hearing today as well? Obviously, our trial of choice that we're following is the Treehouse murder case. That is absolutely, for me, it's absolutely fascinating. Let's see what happened to the Treehouse case. Joe, it's still going on. The judge has another docket matters that need to be addressed, and so they're doing a half day today. We'll be picking up at 1. Where we left off, we were still questioning Travis Johnson, the witness, who is one of the people who named Tucker as a co-conspirator, basically, and did so in a sweetheart deal to get out of a life in prison. So in that deal, he got reduced his time down to time served as long as he testified against Tucker. And it's interesting. I tell you, it sounds suspicious. It seems very convenient that what we have is a detective who literally got a letter of recommendation recommending that she not be a detective anymore. Okay, because of how she's improperly handled her work. But we are supposed to believe that while that is the case, also at the same time, this same detective waltzes in on the scene and comes up with a theory of what happened and nailed it in every aspect, got it perfectly right. And all this gentleman had to do is, yep, you're right, that's how it happened. Yep, that's it. I'll just nod and say that's it. It's a little incredulous. I don't see how we've got a detective who, by her boss's account, is not a good detective, who stumbles across a complex multi-person murder scene, and using a couple grainy videos that don't show a lot, then is, why am I off the screen? Oh, I'm on the screen. I was looking at the wrong one. It then is able to just nail the
Counsel, do you need to go back in and speak with your client?
Alita Lay says, did you hear about the death warrant issued in Utah? Can we follow it? Death by firing squad. It was signed in 2003, now to be reassigned without appeals. Thoughts? Utah is one of the states that
Mr.
has...
Cannon, do you need to go back in and speak with your client?
My client? Yes. Sorry, Jay.
Well, she's not doing anything. We're going to bail off her courtroom. Utah is one of the states that does have a death penalty. And one of the ways they execute or carry out the death penalty is by firing squad. There are some reasons. You can dig into the history of this, but basically there was individuals who felt that if they took someone's life through spilling blood in their spiritual repentance process, they had to then have their own blood spilled, and lethal injection doesn't spill any blood, so to speak. And so they have incorporated this death by firing squad. The firing squad is a very interesting way of executing someone, because they use corrections officers to staff the firing squad. And if you were to fill out an application, I know this because I got one in school, but I got an application to serve as a corrections officer, and this was for research. I had no desire to be a corrections officer, but if you fill out an application to be a corrections officer at the Utah Department of Corrections, one of the questions they ask is if you were told to shoot someone, would you do it? It's like a yes/no. It's a litmus test. Because there are a couple situations where corrections officers are instructed to shoot someone. One of them is if they were called to serve on a firing squad, and the other is with a violent felon escaping prison. They can shoot you in the back. And those two situations, if you say no, you basically don't get the job. So every corrections officer basically says, yes, I'd be willing to shoot someone if I had to, in the line of duty, so to speak. Then, but the actual individuals who serve on a firing squad are not just numbers drawn out of a hat. They volunteer. They literally put their name in a hat. And just because you've said yes, I would be willing to do it, and yes, I would like to volunteer for this. I'll be one of the. And I forget how many. Is it 6? Is it 7? I forget how many firearms. Sometimes it's 4. I don't know. But I believe they have a number of rifles, and these are older style rifles. These are bolt action rifles that are preloaded, and everybody has blanks except for 1 or 2 people, and so there's always that possibility that my gun contained a blank, and I didn't actually pull the shot or pull the trigger that did anything, and they fire simultaneously. So there's no one. It's not like boom, 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 boom. Anyway, interesting thing. But yeah, death penalty in Utah is something that still happens. I have not seen Tucker's profile on Brand Yourself. I have not been on Brand Yourself ever. I've not. I'll say this. I am very respectful of Tucker's time. And right now, as he's acting as his own attorney, I would not want to do anything that would take away from the time he has to prepare for his own defense. That is his number one focus. Let's see. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I've got mod chat I need to check on, make sure everything's going. All right, so I do not want to do anything that would take away from any of his time in preparing for a defense, because being your own defense counsel is a full-time job. It is. I would say it's the wrong decision, and I stand by that one. And so I wouldn't want to do anything where I would take any of his attention or time away from preparing for what he needs to do to defend himself in court. For that reason, so I wouldn't want to interfere in any way. Let's see. Just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean you should do it. Culperistic, I think there are some cases where you should. I think there are some cases where you should be able to defend yourself. I think the court system itself should operate in a way that the common person, you and I, should be better capable of functioning within it. I don't think it should be so complex and convoluted and have so many traditions and policies and processes that the average Joe couldn't walk in there and do an okay job. Now, I also believe the average Joe should be much more educated about the legal system than they are. And so you need the two to go together. You can't just have someone who's completely ignorant about the law and about, rules of evidence and things like that, just walk in and be able to do whatever they want in the courtroom. That would be mayhem. That would be crazy. But I do believe that oftentimes if we have a right that is not exercised,
send someone with more experience.
There's Mr. Frog. If we have a right that we don't exercise, it's only a matter of time before that right isn't a right anymore, and it just fades away and is taken away. So I'm with people. I'm for people exercising their rights. In this case, I don't think it was the right thing to do. Let's see. He may walk away if the state doesn't prove their burden. Juries are savvy. I don't know if he's sunk. State doesn't have a strong case, but it's still so risky. Mr. Upper Torso, one of the concerns I have for Mr. Tucker is as we're heading into this important part of the trial towards the end, where the judge is handling the jury instructions, right? Cases are made and lost in jury instructions. That wording is essential. And if the state can shape those jury instructions to reassure the jury regarding a conviction where but for Mr. Tucker, if he had made an objection or asked for a different instruction or not to include something or maybe a clarification that should be in there, it might put a question in jurors' minds saying, hey, the law, the way the judge instructed us in those jury instructions, I just don't think we've met that. Obviously, the state's going to want to fashion those in a manner that's most convenient and helpful to them. And Mr. Tucker on his own has got to look at those and make sure that not just that everything that's in there is right, but everything that the jury should be instructed on is in there. Hopefully he's got some counsel, that outside counsel. I realize he has some to some degree. I don't know exactly that connection, but hopefully they can look at that and just give it a once over for him just in case, because those jury instructions are crucial. When's the next Maya trial update? Ruth, I think the next thing we're going to see is
somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. Mm-hmm. I don't know who won.
Thank you, Judge Boyd. I think the next thing we're going to see is the judgment. I think it's going to be the judgment, where the judge enters the judgment and and it just goes. And I don't think that'll happen in a hearing, but you can't really enter mediation before the amount of the judgment is decided. The judgment can't be decided until both sides have hammered out the details of the set off. And I think that's the last filing that we saw in the court that was filed under seal. It was filed under seal because that agreement, that $2.5 million settlement that was granted, that was awarded or was agreed upon between Sally Smith and Sunrise and the Kowalskis, that is under secret.
Are we going to
seal.
address subject matter jurisdiction?
Both sides have to agree that it's $2.5 million that comes off the tab. And once they agree, then I think we've got the judgment. All right. Yes, people have succeeded. Abby, I don't have at the tip of my fingertips the knowledge, the names of who has done it, but there have been people who have succeeded.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
Let's see. Kid's personal Uber driver says there's just too much for one person. He may know his story, but not be able to apply the law on the fly. There's so many things. I mean, you almost need one person. Listen to how many times. Here, this is an example. Listen to how many times we are seeing or hearing the prosecutor. Hey, Jules is calling in. Hang on one second. Listen.
Call from Jules. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail,
Ivan, you called
2.
right after Jules. I've got to take Ivan, or got to take Jules first. Let me finish this thought, Jules, and then I'll talk to you. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Bring the jury.
Okay. So watch how many times the prosecutor and his partner, because they're a two-man team, talk to each other and confer before there's, say, like an objection, where somebody leans over and says, objection, hearsay. Or anytime you've got two people on the prosecutor, two seasoned people who have to work together to find all the times they need to object. Tucker is not, this is not his field of expertise, and he's there in the courtroom, and he has to not only listen to the story of what's going on, what they're telling, compare that to the evidence of everything he's seen in discovery and what he knows and everything else, and be working on the notes and what he's going to ask and how he's going to cross and keep notes there, and be mindful of what the attorney's saying, how he's wording the questions, how he's eliciting the answers, the testimony from the witness, and is that legal? Is there objections should be made there? There's just a lot for one person to do for that. Jules is on the phone with us. Jules, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. I just finished my cup of coffee, so I'm ready for the day.
Ready for the day. Good to go. What's on your mind this morning? Do you have any updates for us?
Okay. Yeah. Well, you were just talking about the document that was filed, the release and settlement agreement. Did you pull up the certificate of service that was, because the release and settlement is filed under seal, but did you pull up the certificate of service and read the footnote?
I've got it right here. Just one second.
Read the footnote, my man. and then you'll see what that document under seal is really about.
The agreement, the release and settlement. Which one are you talking about? The notice of confidential information?
Yes. Read the footnote.
Okay, footnote number 1. Plaintiffs file this agreement under seal in accordance with the court's order on post-trial motions. As per the terms of release and settlement agreement, in abundance of caution, despite the unauthorized disclosure of the terms of the settlement of release to Dr. Sally Smith in violation of paragraph 5 and the release of the settlement agreement on or about January 12th, Dr. Sally Smith discussed the terms of the settlement and the consideration paid on the season finale of the Nobody Should Believe Me podcast, available at Spotify. Yeah, so that means we're right. That means this is...
She violated the NDA.
Yeah, which is bad, but it... Honestly, it doesn't undo everything.
No, but I would think that because there was a reference to what did it say? I think it said paragraph 5, section 5. I can't remember now because I just paragraph 5 of the agreement. So I think that there might be some more money coming because she violated that agreement. She's not supposed to discuss it, and she did.
Right. I don't know what the penalties are for violating the NDA there.
I don't know. It depends on what's in that paragraph, I would think.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
Okay, so yeah, I could have put it on the screen. Just 1 second. Let me pull it up here. Just let me get one of the windows available. There we go. There's the tab. Okay, there's the document. Give me 1 second. We'll pull it up here. I'll put it on the screen, and I'll read it slower. I apologize. My wife tells me to slow down as well.
I love your speed reading, actually.
Sometimes when it comes to court documents, some things are there's so much to read and there's so much repetition. A lot of times I just tear through it. Okay, so this is basically the notice that was filed ahead of the one that was filed under seal. It's like, heads up, court, the next document is under seal. This is why we're doing it, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So the footnote right here, if you guys can see that, that's what I just read through a little bit too quickly, apparently. The plaintiffs are filing this under seal because the agreement with Sally Smith and Sunrise was that it would be secret, that no one would know how much they had paid the Kowalskis to have this all go away, right? And that amount was $2.5 million. We know that because Dr. Sally Smith discussed the terms on a podcast. Well, now that it's out in the open, we've actually heard that from Greg himself, confirming that. But he wasn't the one who broke those terms. That was Sally that did. But even though it was under seal, they're still following those same steps, saying, because of the terms of this, I can't release the documents, right? I can't release the hard copy of here's the agreement we have to the public. That would be a further disclosure than what Sally Smith did, who just released the amount on the end. So he files the whole thing under seal. All he needs is for Mr. Hunter to look at that and say, yep, we agree, this is the amount. Once that's done, that probably will just be, they'll take the $212.5 million and they're going to be minus $2.5 million, and they're going to do the math and say, it's $210 million. And once they've done that, then the judge can make the order. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
She not only on that podcast discussed the amount of the settlement, she went further into it, stating how she was against it. She didn't want to settle. She wanted to go to court, but the insurance company is the one who insisted that she should settle. So she wasn't supposed to discuss any of that.
Yeah.
And she did it.
An NDA means do not disclose. I've signed many an NDA in my life, and I don't tell you about them because I've said I wouldn't talk about them. That's how it works. When I have a security clearance, I sign and say I won't talk about certain things, and I can't talk about them. For some of them, I can't talk about them until 99 years after I quit my job. 99 years after I quit my job, I can tell you about some of the things I did for work. Obviously, you're not going to hear about those. We have agreed not to talk about them. That's what an NDA is for. In this case, yeah. So interesting. We'll see. I expect a response by Jay Hatch's team probably in the next day or so on this. It's not a huge issue, and honestly, it reduces the amount. So this would be something you'd think they'd be on the ball for. Anything they can get that total knocked down. That's what they're trying to do. So we'll see if they.
We'll see. We'll see. And they also, on the judge's order for mediation, what is it? 10 days they have, 10 or 15 days to sanctions, not mediation, on the sanctions. They have, it's either 10 or 15 days, I think the order said.
They've got a few days. Mr. Jack Kowalski has to accept the remitter. That's something the plaintiff has to file. There'll probably be a motion saying, hey, the plaintiff accepts, signed here, this remitter, or appeals the remitter. There's a couple options he can have on that. I think he's going to accept. I think he would. But
that's my guess. Yeah.
So there's a few more paperwork things to happen, but the judgment is the next one, the big one that comes from the judge. That's where he's like, all right, here's the final number. We've done all the math. We've subtracted everything we're going to subtract, and starting now, and he clicks that button, and starting now and we have to do the math. What is it? 9.1% or something like that. That compounds daily. Okay, so interest upon interest. If you didn't pay yesterday, then the amount of interest that you accrued today is now accruing interest tomorrow. That's how it goes. It builds quickly. This is the sort of thing you want on an investment. You don't want it on a bill because it grows so fast. But Jules, thank you very much for your update. I appreciate that.
No problem. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. We'll see you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sissy Z, welcome to the gallery. Thank you so much for your continued support. And oh my goodness, we got a huge super chat here from Oksana Luke. It says, Treehouse case is nuts. Started watching last night and all of a sudden it was 3 a.m. Thank you for covering it. It is crazy. It's got some crazy things in it. And honestly, there are some facts, some patterns on here that are a little concerning. I think we have Ayden calling in right now. Just one second. Ayden, is that you? Where are we at? Wait. Where did the phone go? Did I just hang up on Ayden? Ayden, I think I just hung up on you. I apologize. Oksana, the case is crazy. Anytime we have a pro se defendant, you expect to see something a little different in court. Ayden, call me back. I promise I'm trying to answer your call. Call one more time. Call me on my burner phone because I don't have a landline still. We'll take that up with Vonage later. But there he is. Here's Ayden. Now I'm going to
call from
One More Try.
One More Try. Mr. One More Try, welcome, Ayden. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, you never give up, right? Never give
never.
up. And so I just want to talk about Mr. Tucker here real quick.
Yeah.
It seems to me, usually in a case, you'll have the defense trying to, do some jury nullification based on the fact that they know they're guilty, but they try to play into the hearts or the, emotions or ambitions of the jury and try to get them to sway one way or the other. It seems to me in this case, oddly enough, that the state is sort of trying to do that, to just paint this guy as sort of an undesirable who hangs around shady places and shady people. And so therefore, that should be enough to convict him. And it just seems kind of slimy and gross to me. Now, don't get me wrong, Tucker, do I think he did it? I do, but I do not think it has been proved beyond a reasonable doubt. And if we're going by the letter of the law, that should be all that counts. He's totally screwed the pooch, if we can say that, by taking it on himself.
I don't know he's done it. I'm not there yet. There's so much incentive for these individuals who have pointed the finger of blame at Tucker to say it wasn't me, right? There was somebody else who did something worse than I did. Thus, I will say whatever you want me to say to make
maybe
my
he didn't
sentence
do it,
go
but
down.
I think he's capable. I think he's in the position to do it. I think he's in the atmosphere to do it. I think he was around the place enough to be one. I think it's not out of the ordinary to say it could have been him. Now, but that is not the standard. That is not the law. And so if he would have even had a first-year law student just guiding him through this a little better or taking the lead, I think he could have been walking on this. Now, I do find the arrogance both both impressive and insulting at the same time to take this on when he was offered time served after just a couple of years. I mean, I get it. You don't want this charge on your record, but it seems to me that he doesn't have to really worry about money. He's got a sugar mama that has, national business that everybody knows. Like
we don't know that, and that's outside the realm of the court. That's outside this trial. And here's what I'll say, Mr. Tucker. And I try to put myself in his shoes, right? Because we have, if I were him and I didn't do it, okay, let's start with that, because that's the premise the jury should start with as well. Okay,
sure.
That he did not do it. He's innocent unless proven guilty, not until proven guilty. It's not inevitable. It's unless proven guilty. And so he comes into court, and if I didn't do it, and I knew I didn't do it, I might also be pretty arrogant and say, this should be pretty easy to prove, because A, I wasn't there. B, I didn't do it.
But you would never take the arrogance to the next level and say, I'm going to do it myself to prove it.
I would tell you that Mr. Tucker is probably doing a better job defending himself than I would if I were defending myself. His ability to...
But that's...
I don't know. I can't hold someone's arrogance or confidence in themselves against them right here. I realize I stand by the fact that I think he made the wrong choice to defend himself. I agree with that.
Oh, absolutely. And do we have any physical evidence so far?
I haven't seen any. Yeah. We've got a DNA expert on the docket. Somebody's coming up. There might be some DNA, but I'm looking ahead at this thinking he lived together. Basically, they were in the warehouse. They were all in the same place, unless they've got some of his blood on the knife or something like that. I don't know.
It's just, I don't know. It just blows me away that they are basing it seems to me the state is basing their case off the fact that, you know what, he might have some people that don't belong in a chamber of commerce, or people who aren't going to be bankers, or people who aren't in high society, but that isn't a reason to convict a guy of of murder. And so it just seems to me that they are, like I said, trying to do jury nullification from the state side, which you rarely see. Like, it's always the other way around, at least in my experience, where the defense is trying to sully the jury with an emotional plea or, what have you, like, what you get it. Like, but I don't know. It seems, I just wish the guy would have gotten himself a lawyer, because it's such a winnable case.
It still might be. It still might be winnable, because you've got a jury who's going to be told that the state has to have proved each element of the crime, and those elements of the crime are going to be spelled out. No matter how the jury instructions get worded, that's going to be in there. And if the jury is paying attention and looks at that and says, "Hey, all we've got is a couple people who one of them, Mr. Travis, to some degree or another, has been impeached. We have a detective who's done this detective work, who was a perfect detective in this case, except for in all the way she handled evidence, but she nailed it.
Photoshopping of the lineup
that doesn't just concern me as much. It's a bad look optics wise, but I believe it's a regular practice. I believe she answered wrong. I believe that other places will. Okay. And by photoshopping, we're not talking like airbrushing and make their face look like somebody else. We're talking about
that's what people think.
That's what we hear. But we're cropping the picture. They may be taking the hoodie off. Okay, they may be doing something like that. And you see, I mean, when we make our little logo, our little Canva thing, our thumbnail.
You superimpose a tattoo on a guy. Like, now, where does it end? You know what I mean?
Right. They should probably have fleshed that out a little bit to say what did the photoshopping entail, but they haven't got that witness on the stand. We've got somebody else who said somebody else prepared it for us.
And what about Paula? Will she ever make, what's the status of her?
I don't know. Obviously, her health is declining. I think the judge feels that they have, if she's not able to make to court, or if heaven forbid she passes away before her time in court comes, the judge feels that it's okay because we have a deposition, we have an interview.
We have a depo. Oh,
so he says
an affidavit. Okay.
Either way, we're covered. So I don't feel rushed to do that. But I don't know if the depo covers everything. Mr. Tucker may ask her in court if she sits on the stand, even via Zoom.
Oh, man, it's just to me it feels like Dave Chappelle had a skit way back in the day called "When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong," And that's the vibes I get here. I know he's trying to defend himself. I know he knows he's innocent, and in his mind he is. And so he's just trying to keep it real and go full. But at some point you have to delegate to minds that are more equipped or experienced, as Farak would say, than you are. And I just don't think he's gained. I think he did the pro se thing for charisma points because it seems like he likes to maneuver up there. He likes to look at himself as a colleague of the state. He's not. He is what he is. That's not to defame him or anything else.
But let's take a step back on this one, and let's look at it like this. Mr. Tucker, in his demeanor, I realize at the very beginning of the trial, more so at the beginning and less so now, he was very argumentative, but in a respectful way. He would interrupt people. That's the extent of it. He would interrupt. Very well controlled, very self-controlled, very aware of himself. I don't know if you can change your nature over a couple of years, but I look at this guy who's basically being accused of murder, who says he didn't do it, and he's very calm, he's collected, he's asking questions, he's being thoughtful, he's reasonable, even when the other side is really throwing stuff at him that he says isn't true. And I'm saying, is this guy just really good at hiding the fact that he could snap on somebody and stick him with a scuba knife, or are we seeing true character showing through here? And maybe this isn't the guy the state's made him out to be.
Well, and that's what I mean. That's why I feel like they're trying to, convict him based on his associates or based on his, attendance at the Treehouse in general, or based on the fact that he knows these people. So therefore he would have reasons. It just seems like a stretch. And like I said, maybe DNA comes later. We've seen, at least, I've been in and out, lurking here and there, rearranging the store and stuff, taking down the holiday stuff and just switching over to the new season. But I haven't seen any physical evidence unless I'm mistaken. Is that true? False?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have all the information. Obviously, I wish for Tucker the best defense he can possibly get. And in this case, I don't think he's gone the best route to choose that.
Right.
And so I don't want to do anything in any way that would detract him or distract him from his defense.
But especially since it seems like he had the resources, or at least the resources offered to him by people close to him, to get that best defense. You don't put up $2 million in bail and not be able to get a good lawyer. So to me, that's where I don't like using terms like arrogance, but come on, you had somebody willing to support you to get the best money could buy, and instead you chose this route. That has to be a conversation as to why. I don't.
Let's think this over. Lauren and I, if you can type your message again and not in all caps, we have our mods are trained to delete messages that are all caps. Just a heads up. Lauren, by the way, is Tucker's wife in chat with us. Welcome. Appreciate being here. Appreciate the information. Ayden, I'm going to let you go and take this other call. All right. Thank you.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye. Oh, I just missed it. Whoever was calling, if you can call one more time. Lauren had posted a message that there was no physical evidence. There's been no physical evidence, and we have not seen anything in trial yet. And I realize here's the dilemma I'm in, right? We had a trial with Zachariah Anderson where there was a very, very, very little. I mean, I don't know if you can have a less amount of physical evidence. Here's they're calling back. Just 1 second. Let's see who's on the call here.
Call from Liz.
Hey, Liz. Is it Liv or Liv? Liz.
Liz.
Liz. Welcome. What's on your mind today? I'll talk about Zachariah Anderson when we're done with the call. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a whole nother one. So about this Treehouse murder thing, as far as Tucker's concerned, with the lineup and all that, I know you were talking about that. Usually they have to, in a lineup with all the photos, they have to make all the pictures look the same. So they have to, I know when I worked in law enforcement with criminal justice, I wasn't a law enforcement officer, but I worked within criminal justice. So, having to pull mugshots the old-fashioned way, you'd have to go and find people that all looked similar. Because if there was one person that looked outside of that one person, it would get thrown out for that reason. So you have to make everybody look the same. or similar.
And we as on outsiders, when we hear the term Photoshop, we think of Vogue magazine and the pencil thin model on the cover, who in reality may not be that thin or might have a blemish somewhere. We think of somebody really just making something look perfect the way they want it to, using editing tools.
Right.
When in reality, a lot of this might be just be cropping, zooming in, a removal of a hoodie behind them. That's not changing their
Right.
physical appearance. So it's very, very minor, but it sounds in our head. It's like, whoa, this is photoshopped, which means that's right up with like an AI generated image in our minds. We're like, clearly this is all fake, right? And it wasn't that extreme, so that didn't bother me as much. But it's I wish they'd gone into more detail and just said, we had to crop or resize the pictures so that they all looked the same.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Great.
now, as far as, sorry.
No, go ahead.
As far as Tucker and his demeanor, and this isn't, this is just my personal experience. When he walks and talks, now he may be completely sober now, but you're talking about a murder that happened in 2017. My ex-husband was a drug addict, crackhead, and an abuser. So when he walks and talks and does all this stuff, this trial has triggered me. And even I told my daughter yesterday, I was like, I'm watching this trial, and oh my God, it's your father made over. He's a narcissist. He's all these things. It is just, and the whole thing is, I didn't do it. It's not, it's everybody else. It's, and I mean, he even talks. I mean, I could close my eyes and sit there and say, I'm watching the same person. I mean, he'd get a DUI and, well, it wasn't my fault. It's the stupid law. Why do they make that law? So I'm very concerned. And I worked in law enforcement.
I saw more behavior like that on the part of the defendant yesterday than I did with Tucker. And I realized I see in him some arrogance or some confidence in himself that might be undue. I don't know how else to say that. I think he's very confident that he can do what task is in front of him. Look at Travis on the witness stand, our witness who showed up in shorts, very interestingly, and his inability to accept the one thing that he had lied to the police at any time, even before he'd started telling the truth. Every time you said you're like, oh, you told a different story then, and you said something else. Wouldn't that be untruthful? No, that would be. I see that more as the narcissist finding an explanation for everything, for a way around. It's always someone else's fault. Accepting blame is just nothing is ever done. Tucker has been apologetic to the jury, to the judge, to the co-counsel. He's got some. Now I realize that might be manipulative in a way, but I don't know. I'm not yet ready to say that this guy is a full-blown narcissist. But
having lived with somebody for 20 years and being married, living with him for 10 years and being married and having to deal with someone like him for 20 years, or over 20 years.
Yeah.
Those are gaslighting techniques. He knows what this guy has lived through, and he knows all about him, so he knows the buttons to push, and he knows
agree. Tucker pushed
what
the
he
buttons.
can do.
He knew.
And yeah.
I think, honestly, I think a lawyer would have done the same thing.
I don't think. I think the lawyer would have known that you can't push a person that way, and like the judge said, I wouldn't bring this information in.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to work your way. And so I think that's the difference. I think he's bringing information in that wouldn't have normally been brought in. So I think that's where, him representing himself, I think it's more of what his lawyer told him is like, well, this is what we need. This is the best we're going to be able to do. And he's like, nah, I can do it better. No, forget you.
If we
I
listen,
can do it better.
Yesterday in court, the judge was basically saying, hey, well, if you had a lawyer, they'd advise you. And he said, this was my lawyer's advice. This is my counsel's advice. I am following what they've told me to do here. So I don't know. I want to give it some more space. I still think there's something about this trial that's not right. I can't believe, I at least as a juror, an outside juror, I have a hard time believing that this detective, who was recommended to not be a detective anymore because of how she handled cases and evidence, in this one instance got it perfectly right first try on her own. And
Right.
that's nearly impossible. I mean,
Right.
you look at a cop that shows up at a traffic accident and just trying to piece together the pieces from skid marks and stuff. Even then they get it wrong, and they've got evidence scattered all around them. And here she has very little evidence, but she's got the incomplete story down to knowing that Mr. Travis didn't want to be involved. Before Mr. Travis even admitted that he was involved, saying, we know that you didn't want to do this. She's got this whole thing, the whole scenario built in her head, the complete, television produced TV series in her head. And all she needed was Mr. Travis to say yes. And that's what he did. And for me, I struggle with that. I don't know. I don't know that Mr. Tucker is innocent. I don't know he's not guilty. But for me, I'm not ready to say this is beyond reasonable doubt for me. And convict.
Right. Well, I just feel like there was, I think, and words I think are being used that shouldn't be used. Like instead of narrative, it should be theory. I just think there's a whole lot of, I don't know. We'll see, but I think there's a lot of wordplay that's being used that shouldn't be used. I also sat on a jury, for a capital case, in Asheville, and it was 3 weeks, and you don't talk to anybody. My daughter was 3 years old when I did that, and it was in '98, and he killed his aunt, his cousin, and it was horrifying. And I'll tell you, they're awful, but it's a mess. I don't know. There's something missing.
Liz,
missing.
I appreciate your insight. Obviously, you've been through things that I have not, and so I can't discount your feelings and your conclusions based on that, because you've lived in situations where I have not, and I don't have that experience. And I'm sorry you went through it. Not the jury part. I'm jealous of that. but
don't be.
Yeah, no, it's
awful.
It can be awful. But I appreciate you sharing your input. I know what you've said has resonated with a lot of people, and it gives me something to think about as well. So thank you very much for your call. I appreciate that.
All right, and you have a wonderful day, and thank you for your channel.
Thank you, Liz. We'll see you. Talk to you again soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Amber, our wonderful mod, how are you doing this morning? You feeling okay?
What's going on? I'm not quite as achy today, but we'll see how long my voice lasts. And I figured I would grace you with the pleasure of hearing my voice before it's gone.
Okay. We'll make you talk fast so you don't lose it.
I'm going to do my typical mod disclaimer. I'm not calling about anything specific to any one case with details or anything. I'm going to do my typical mod disclaimer. I want to remind everybody in chat that we keep it respectful on this channel, no matter whose side you're on,
right,
what your thoughts are on the case, or what you think of somebody personally. We do no ad hominem attacks. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, I can't say it once.
Don't take it to a personal level.
Right.
Like, we need to understand that, just like within the Gannon Stout case, or I'm sorry, was it Gannon? Yeah, Gannon Stout. We had family and friends, neighbors, direct linked family members in the chat with that trial. We kept it respectful, but it was a pretty unanimous kind of chat feel.
Yeah.
This is obviously split in chat, and I want everybody to remember, we don't take things personally. We don't do a personal attack.
Yeah.
We need to remember to keep it respectful because we're doing timeouts with no notice at this point.
I do appreciate that. I appreciate you reminding us, because a lot of times we're observers in court, and we sit in our homes and watch this on the screen. It seems so far away, but there are people who are sitting in their homes watching on the screen, and at the end of the day, this is what they come home to. This is their life. This is their family. This is this is their history. This is their neighborhood. So please be aware of that, and think before we speak a little bit. Not every comment needs to be said. Right, there are some things that can be left unsaid, and that's all right. Just let's keep it classy. That's it. So I appreciate that reminder.
Keeping
Amber.
it classy.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, not a problem.
Yeah, feeling better now.
For me before yeah, I'm trying. I promise. I'm trying my best.
All right, that's all, Amber. I've got a call from a phone number I'm seriously jealous of because it's almost all the same number. But I'll take that one now. I'll see you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Call from Lauren and I.
Lauren, this is Recovery Addict. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
Lauren and I.
You might have to turn down your volume on your side because there's a little bit of a delay.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry.
All right, that should be a little bit better. It won't be as confusing for you there, Lauren. It's my belief that you have some personal knowledge in this case. It's my understanding you're the can I say estranged wife of Mr. Tucker in the Treehouse murder trial.
Well, I'd like to start with that misconception.
Okay.
I'm not estranged.
Okay. I've been wrong before. It looks like I'll be wrong again. So.
Let me back up. My phone number is gangster. I agree.
That is. I'm
lucky
jealous.
with that one.
How in the world? I can't give it out, but well, easy to remember. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's awesome. Tyrone and I have had our differences throughout our marriage. We've lived over the last 6 years in a very difficult situation, long distance and in person. As you can imagine, with any relationship, there's ups and downs and issues, and you add on all the difficulties surrounding his incarceration, this trial, the stress on both of us. Yeah, we've had issues. But at the end of the day, we love each other, and I've never wavered from standing by his side in this fight, not for 1 second. He and I are in perfectly good terms right now. So, as far as anybody's concerned, we are married. Not estranged.
Okay. I apologize. Please accept my personal apology on that, because I've said you were estranged. I read that, and I should have verified.
I know.
Passing it on.
We got to be careful what we read, right?
Yes. My bad. Please accept my apology. Not my bad. My mistake. Judge Boyd would rip me a new one if I said my bad. Lauren, obviously, you've heard possibly this morning my position. We love following this case. We're intrigued by it. Something seems wrong. There's always seems to be like, wait for the shoe to drop. What's out there. The big thing for me is I have not seen any physical evidence, like any, and you've said there's no physical evidence. What's coming up? Does the state have like a big closer? What is it just somebody pointing the finger? Is that all they're running on?
That's all there is. There's the physical evidence, the DNA that was taken, came back on the knife. And this is what's so confusing, why they're trying to put that particular knife in Tyrone's hands, because that particular knife was used in the Rory Wilson trial. The DNA on that knife belongs to Rory Wilson, Paula Belmont, and the deceased victim, Matthew Bonnet. The DNA on the mask that they brought and showed in court came back to Rory Wilson, Paula Belmont, and Matthew Bonnet. We're a little concerned because the state did ask to have you remember how they brought the actual DNA samples into court. Mm-hmm. Ty was very concerned that they had access to that because out of worry of contamination or whatnot. I doubt that they'll pull that at this point. It would look really bad.
Yeah.
But there has been no DNA, no physical evidence, no witness that points to Ty ever said Ty was involved. The only reason his name came up in this situation is he went to Metro PCS 3 days after the crime, after going to Burger King with Rory Wilson, and somebody who knew the details of the crime, some of the details, called the police and said, "Your suspect's here at Metro PCS with a white guy." That's it. And then what they did is they got Ty's phone number, they got his name, they looked up his Facebook page, and there was a scary picture because it was just after Halloween, and he had a paint on, scary paint, and he was holding a fake knife posing for a Halloween picture. And they literally took those pictures and put it into evidence as consistent.
Here he is
with
prepping
the
for the
map.
murder, right? This is him.
Whatever. It's ridiculous. I mean, when you say something's not right, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit sounding indignant right now
go ahead.
or emotional, but it's just, all of this is coming to a head. And mind you, I'm going to say everything that I'm saying, put this blanket out there. It's my opinion.
Right.
I've had a gag order imposed on me for 3 years. It's just been lifted, so I'm going to ramble.
You're able to talk.
But I've also been sued, attempted to be sued by the former lead captain, Penny Phelps, for defamation, because Tyrone and I and his attorneys, which he did have, very good attorneys, filed complaints against her and her misconduct during this case. And so look, I'm going to back up a second. If I'm talking too much, let me know.
No, go ahead. This is intriguing.
When I first looked into this case, first of all, I spoke to Ty probably a week after his arrest. And, he didn't really want my help. He's not a kind of person to even ask for help ever. That's why I wanted to reach out, because I figure if you're arrested for murder, you probably need help, and Ty's not going to ask for it. So he told me, he said, "Look, Lauren, I don't expect you to believe me blindly in any of this. Take a look at what the police reports say. You take a look at everything, and you come to your own conclusion. I can't talk about the case. That's what I was left with. But in our process, he did allow me to have access to all the discovery, everything that he had access to from the prosecutor's office, I had access to. When I first read, so first of all, there was an initial offense report for Rory that had Ty's name not mentioned at all in it. The second suspect was called a unknown white male. A day later, offense report comes out and it says that the second suspect was Franklin Tyrone Tucker. And I was very confused as to how he became that white guy overnight. It didn't make sense to me. So off the rip, I've had doubts about the integrity of the police report. Fast forward. Go ahead.
Is there prior history? Is there something? Are they angry at him? Is this?
That's what I thought too.
Why did they choose him to suddenly?
This is the biggest what the fuck ever. I still don't have a definitive answer. I have theories, but there's definitely people in this case that have been protected, and they have consistently across the board tried to implicate Ty above and beyond looking for truth. Every witness, Paula, Todd O'Quinn, every witness that they spoke to, they repeatedly interviewed them to get them to say it was Ty. And everybody wanted to avoid saying it was Travis, who admits to being there, who, by the way, was outside of the warehouse the night of the crime, talking to the cops, packing up his truck to leave the night of the crime, where the suspects supposedly live. Not suspicious, no. I mean, why they didn't just stick with Travis and Rory from day one? Nobody says there's 3 people. Nobody saw a getaway driver. When Todd O'Quinn comes running out and sees the first suspect leaving the crime, which is supposedly Ty, running after a truck, Todd doesn't see a truck out there. There's no truck. I mean, there's just nothing.
I'll tell you, it sounds to me, something sounds off from the beginning. Obviously, I don't have the benefit of knowing all the discovery that you do. I have to ask this question. It's come up in chat several times.
Sure.
Why is Tucker not having representation? Is it a disagreement with the coverage? Is it financial? And you don't have to go into it if you don't, but it's like the elephant in the room question.
No, and I'm more than happy to answer this. It's part of why I wanted to call. Desperate times take desperate measures often. And look, we went through a host of attorneys, all of whom were horrible, none of whom would listen to us or even look at Ty's discovery to see that there's something horribly wrong with this case, which you guys are seeing. Not even seeing all the discovery, not even seeing most people are like, it's weird. Something's weird here. So it was a very frustrating process. We finally met Kara Higgins and Jerry Belmont, Bellarado, and they took on this case. They are amazing attorneys. They believe in Ty. They have fought for him. We have achieved miracles in exposing the misconduct in this case. And what came to a head was we had put all this information about it, and there it is. There's misconduct on the part of Colleen Dunn, the former prosecutor whose license was suspended. There's misconduct on the part of the cops. I mean, it's blatant misconduct. Nobody's talking about the jailhouse snitch put next to Ty in order to garner a fake confession in which the prosecutor knew he was being moved in proximity to Ty to do so. I mean, the list goes on and on of the things that they've done to try to pin this on him. And we finally got a motion to dismiss. We wrote a motion to dismiss based on all of this. Actually, it was based on the grand jury, Colleen Dunn lying in the grand jury to get him indicted. But the judge ruled rather arrogantly and viciously that there's been nothing that rose to the level of misconduct in the case and that he will not dismiss the case. And it was like a shot in the gut to all of us because it felt like the judge was saying, F you, you're not going to win this, no matter what.
The judge has come across a couple times, sort of exposing his cards a little bit where he stands.
He's been okay. So
I
sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what you've seen, he's been nice. Prior to the cameras being in the room, he's even worse to Ty and the defense. He's so obviously biased, so obviously mad or aggravated or whatever it is, and it doesn't make sense to me. Other than the fact that I stepped in and had money and was able to expose this, help Ty expose this and demand the truth and demand accountability. And I think Monroe County is a weird little town in Key West. The judge actually said in court, when I had another attorney who was from New York say, we don't do things the same way down here. They don't like people coming down there and exposing their weird little... Yes, exactly. So I think part of it was my involvement that pissed them off, and they kind of dug their heels in more. But Judge Jones definitely has had a bias this entire time. And anyway, back to the point of the pro se. So when this happened, mind you, at the time I had a scathing bar complaint against Colleen Dunn, a third one. And because of the judge ruling, the Florida bar decided to close my case because they said that the judge really was in a better position to investigate the misconduct. And since he says there is none, we're closing this case. So I was devastated.
Fox guard in the hen house a little bit.
Exactly. I was devastated. I felt like, we've always felt like we're in an uphill battle, but always felt like, okay, if we could just get this done, if we can just show this bit of information in court and prove it and show it to the judge, this thing will go away. And basically the judge is like, this isn't going away, and I'm not your friend in this. And it felt very much like this was not going to be fair and balanced. And at the time, I felt like Ty was going to lose no matter what. And so I started just thinking, and I know Ty was thinking, and I'm not going to lie, there were some frictions between the attorneys and Ty. I mean, Ty is fighting for his life here, and he wants to do things in a certain way, and, they're attorneys, and they can't do things a certain way. And, I started thinking, it's like, well, Ty, fuck, if you want to do things your way, go pro se. And then I was like, if you go pro se, the media is going to come. And this thing, the only way this case is going to be won is in the light with people watching. And so a big part of for me, in my approval of him going pro se was, eyeballs are going to be on this, and that's what we need. And the other part is that it's very important. Ty's not an attorney. He's not perfect in court, but he's genuine. People might not like him. Yeah, maybe he is a narcissist. Who cares? He knows this. I shouldn't even say the case. He knows what happened. He knows his story, and nobody can tell that. No attorney will argue it better than he will. Even if people don't like him, even if he stutters, even if he doesn't object as much as he should. I thought my opinion was that a jury would be very, very sympathetic to him.
Interesting.
Presenting his own
interesting.
case.
So what you're saying is a big part of going pro se was basically this shines light on the case. Pro se, obviously, it drew our attention. That's why we're here.
Of course.
You've got major news outlets that are following this now. Interesting. You've shared, Lauren. You've shared some great insights and opinions with us. Obviously, I can't validate or counter those opinions. I don't have that information, so I appreciate you sharing that. We look forward to what comes up. I think we dropped the call. Just dropped. I apologize. That was not me. You saw my hands. I was not touching anything. Lauren, I do apologize. But those insights they are insightful. I mean, it puts things into perspective a little bit. The way Lauren describes this whole case is sounding more like a Karen Reed situation, but down in Florida on the other side of the country. This is crazy. MLS, welcome MLS friends. He just rated us. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys being here. We did just barely got off the phone with Lauren Janai. The phone call dropped here. I apologize, Lauren, if that was my connection that caused that. Appreciate her spending a minute and giving us a little insight into specifically the rationale of why Tucker is pro se. And basically it's working. The idea they had is working. Court starts today in the Treehouse trial at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock. That was Tucker's wife. I've been saying estranged wife. She's not estranged. She says she's not in Key West right now because she doesn't feel safe there. That's what she said in chat. But they are married. They are married. That was current wife, Lauren Janai. So thank you, Lauren, for being in chat. Thanks for being willing to call in and give us that information. I apologize if the phone cut off. She might have lost battery or something there on her end. Wow. You guys, take a step back if you're feeling frustrated with how a conversation in chat's going. Let's take a step back for a minute. Just take a deep breath. If you need to block someone, you can block them. But this is interesting. Basically, what Lauren tells us. Yeah, the call dropped. I apologize, Lauren. If you want to call back, you're welcome to. Obviously, but what Lauren is saying is that we're not going to see any physical evidence, and we have had cases with very little physical evidence. I take you back to Zachariah Anderson, and I realize that's a hot button topic, and my mods are saying, "No, don't mention that. It's gonna cause fires." But in Zachariah Anderson's case, I felt the jury was right in convicting on one the tiniest speck of DNA. And that speck of DNA was, in my opinion, where it should not or could not have been unless something nefarious had happened. And you don't need to announce your blocks, guys. Let's just be nice. Everyone be nice to each other. That's the rule here. That for me was enough. The rest was there was very little hard evidence. And here, what we're supposedly going to hear from DNA experts is that all the hard evidence which was collected. This isn't a case where there was no evidence found. It's like we couldn't find the. Let's see who this is. Hang on a second.
Call from Megan Easton.
Megan, this is Recovery Addict. Can I finish my thought and then I talk to you? Is that all right?
Of course.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
This isn't a case where there was no evidence, where we couldn't find the mask, we couldn't find the knife, we couldn't find the truck, we couldn't find the body. This is not a case like that. There was all these items were found and have been tested, and through the testing, none of it points a finger at Tyrone. Is what we're hearing. That for me, that's a problem. How do you interject? How do you insert the key player, the killer, into a crime scene where no evidence points to him, but the evidence points to all the other people who allegedly were there? That would be literally the definition of a perfect crime, where you go in and commit a murder and leave not a single trace anywhere. Don't appear on on camera. Obviously, it would mean that he was not the one of the people on camera. It would have been that would mean it was Tyler on camera, not him with Rory. Just interesting. Okay, Megan, what's on your mind today?
I was just calling because I thought maybe I could lighten the mood a little bit and just remind you guys that you are an amazing group of people.
Okay.
And I mean, this chat is really the best on the internet.
I agree. You guys are
and
amazing.
I just wanted to tell you that I appreciate you and I appreciate everyone in this chat.
Well, thank
Great
you.
people. That's it.
Thank you. You just called to say nice
That's all I was
things.
calling
Megan,
Yes,
thank
I
you.
did.
I love that. That's the equivalent of just smiling at someone when you walk by, just because you can. Megan, you're a great person. I appreciate you smiling at us over the phone. I'm smiling back.
You're a great person. Y'all are great people.
Megan, thank you so much. Have yourself a fantastic day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's awesome, Megan. Thank you very much. Wow, lots going on. Judge Boyd, hey, you need to go over there. I'll change this camera if that works. Go ahead. Judge Boyd is active right now in her courtroom. We're going to join up for a little bit. We've got about let's see, it's 10:49 right now. We've got about till noon. Are we getting text? Just send a message. I'm getting a lot of text right now. Let's see. I've got family who are like, I'm trying to get a copy of the crab picture for you. So they saw you guys wanted to see the picture. I know I've got a copy somewhere. It's in a box. I'll have to dig it up. But yeah, I'm getting texts. I would say I can't comment on some of these things, unfortunately. I'd have to do a lot more research. Thanks for heads up. As with every trial that goes on, anyone that reaches out or talks to us, people either agree or disagree, and we're having that as well. Laksu says, hi, RA family, best family on YouTube. Thank you, Laksu. Appreciate that. Let's see. Nosy Rosie, sorry you're in pain. That is not good. I need you back in full health so you can type fast. All right. Was Mrs. RA here? Oh, no. This wasn't Mrs. RA right here. That was my son, the one who's in driver's ed. But all right. The phone is going nuts. It's going nuts right now. Okay. Let's do this. Let's take a deep breath, everybody. We are going to go back to the Treehouse trial when it starts at 1:00, and we're going to just return with that. I think with a little bit of insight, this is going to be interesting. I'm still forming my opinion. I have not made a decision as a external juror yet in this case. I don't see it yet. I don't see the evidence. I don't see strong circumstantial evidence even. I see some weak circumstantial evidence that may put Tucker in the same circles as some of the key players in here, but that's all I'm seeing so far. All right, we have more things to add to the thumbnail. Lauren, I hope you don't mind. We do a thumbnail for each trial. We've started doing this. I'm not an artist. Oh, Lauren's calling back. Just one second.
From Lauren Janai.
Hey, Lauren, thanks for calling back. I apologize that the phone dropped earlier. If that was my fault.
No worries. And I don't want to bombard you guys with my opinions and thoughts, but I thought I'd call back.
It's very insightful. I wanted to let you finish out what you were saying and just speak to us a little bit.
Sure. Where was I when I got cut off? Do you remember?
Let's see. We were talking about there was going to be no evidence. It was all found. All the DNA is not going to point to him. we talked a little bit about some of the who might have a grudge against possibly you. We were talking about why he was pro se and the public scrutiny that would bring to the case, and why that was chosen to be the best route. I think that's about where we ended.
Well, let me get a little bit crazy here, because this is nothing that'll come up in the trial, so it's a little tangent, but it might give some perspective. It might make me sound completely crazy and discredit me. I don't know. But in looking at everything, I found that certain people were obviously being protected in this situation. I think you guys probably recall them talking about Anathea Clay not becoming, she was a suspect, listed as a suspect initially, and then
two people pointed the finger at her, just like two people pointed the finger at Tucker, but she was never progressed in the suspect progression chart, right?
No, and she was never interviewed. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to, by all accounts, anybody involved knew that there was beef between Paula and Anathea Clay, and the rumors go, and I don't know if this is true or not. This is just what I've heard from people who were there or involved in their testimonies and whatever. Anathea Clay had just been evicted. She lived in a trailer on Matt's property. And Matt, Paula, and Todd O'Quinn all kind of signed this handwritten eviction notice just a day or so before all this happened. And Anathea was pissed off. Paula states in one of her interviews that some of the women friends, two separate ones, came to her and said, Anathea has been asking us to beat you up and, trying to cause trouble for you. So that's the theory, is that Anathea got somebody to go over there, hurt Paula, scare Paula, whatever. I don't think anything was ever intended to be a murder, but obviously there's drugs involved, and people who want drugs do crazy things. So fast forward, Anathea is brought to the crime scene, the night of the crime. She is interviewed by detectives. We never get that full interview in the discovery.
It was not recorded, right?
It's some of it. We got a tiny piece of it, so it was recorded. It was never turned over. I'll tell you this. I have phone records, and when you see the truck pull up, we've all seen it too many times. Phone records show Anathea Clay and a woman named Crystal Dinklocker calling each other right at that moment. Crystal's one of the women who supposedly was asked to be involved in hurting Paula. She ended up mysteriously dead a month or two later. Anyways, Anathea. Okay, I'll switch over from Anathea and the conspiracy theory stuff for a second. Phone records show that right after the crime, Rory Wilson and Travis Johnson are communicating back and forth. Oddly, at the same time that there is a 911 caller who calls in and says he just saw a guy in a red shirt on the phone arguing with somebody on the phone about stabbing somebody. It's the exact same time as Rory and Travis are on the phone. And the guy that was wearing a red shirt, Travis was wearing a red shirt that night, by accounts. Travis saying that he was not friends with those people. Phone records show Travis and Rory talking on the phone for days.
Right. And we heard that yesterday, that there were these phone records. I'm not sure if they're going to be brought in maybe today.
Well, what Ty brought up was the fact that, Travis says that he didn't know Ty prior. Well, Ty has phone records of Travis and him having calls together. It looks like right at the end of October, when Travis kind of got back in town, it seems like. But, I've spoken to Ty about this. Travis has never said he didn't know these guys in his interviews. That's new at this trial. And, I know better. Ty told me stories about, being in the warehouse, playing. We actually had jail calls. This is funny because they tried to use our jail calls against us, because Ty was talking about playing throwing knives at the dartboard at the Treehouse with Travis, because Travis has a lot of knives. He loves his knives. He used to always sharpen his knives, oil his knives. Like, that was part of Travis's story in his life, And so, Ty would talk about that. Ty would talk about things like, and not, that's just, it was, they knew each other. I don't think anybody was best buddy, but Travis is lying about that. Moving forward, Travis has been protected. Why? Captain Phelps goes into that interview. Oh, and you keep confusing the Detective Malone, who was told to leave major crimes because she wasn't competent, is not the captain who was interviewing Travis and feeding him his story.
So
those are two different people.
Okay, I thought we had the same lady there. It's not the lady who was on the stand that was impeached.
Correct.
It was not her. Okay.
Correct. No, Captain Phelps, who was the one providing the story to Travis, is the one who got fired because of her racial statements in this case and mishandling over 200 pieces of evidence.
My head's starting to spin. This is bizarre.
Correct. It gets worse. I could probably talk to you for 3 days straight and give you more and more details, and you'll just get more and more confused.
So it sounds like the judge is going to hold very tight reins on what he's going to allow in. So probably most of what you've told me and some of what Tucker's brought up is not going to be allowed into court, right? As evidence.
Right.
Is there enough? Is he just going to depend on the fact that the jury won't see any evidence that says it was him? Is that what is?
Yeah, there's no. I believe so. Look, we've been wondering why or how the state is going to pull this off. They have Travis, obviously, but we always felt like he's easily discredited. His story was spoon-fed to him. It's changed. He says it hasn't changed. It has. He's given two different proffers. Before the DNA evidence came out, everybody was saying one thing, really trying to put the knife in Ty's hand. And then after DNA came out, the story changed, and details about the backpack, and they went through great lengths, and it's obvious twists and turns in these statements based on evidence as it progresses. And them trying to, still keep Ty is this guy who not only was involved, but had the knife in his hand. The knife that Worry stabbed the dead man with. So yes, I think the state will call the DNA expert. I suspect what the DNA expert's going to do is say, how DNA is. It's complicated, and sometimes there's unidentified people's profiles, or there's
possibility
so little
of
DNA
additional
you can't
profile.
say.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to go with that. Yes, Rory Wilson's DNA was there. Yes, Paula's DNA was there. Yes, Matt Bonnet's DNA was there. But Ty was wearing gloves, so his DNA wasn't on there. That's the story we've heard before. So I imagine that's what they're going to do with the DNA expert. They're going to call the medical examiner, and the medical examiner is going to obviously testify that Matt was stabbed to death.
I've got to stop there. Wouldn't the cross-examination question to that DNA expert just be? Would it also be the case that the defendant would not leave DNA on the knife if he never touched it? If he never picked it up?
Of course. That's what we're not worried about the DNA expert is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It's like, unless they pull some magical shit out their ass, which would be highly suspicious. There's, and even if they do that on cross, I don't think we're worried about that. And then the medical examiner is going to be the medical examiner. The only thing of interest there is, I'm not sure if he'll be able to testify to this or not, but stabbings were done by a left-handed person. And as Ty did get that information in, Worry's left-handed. So, yeah. And so other than that, they're saying that's all they have. Now, I don't believe them. I think they might pull somebody else out, but we cannot imagine I think they really are counting on people believing Travis's story and the police story that's Ty in that video.
There's a little bit more cross-examination and possible impeachment coming today with Travis.
Oh, definitely.
And so I think his just for me myself as an outside juror, non-deliberating juror, I think Travis has done more harm to his credibility by his refusal to admit that he lied at some point to the police than any of the actual the issues that were raised, right? The discrepancies between the knife and, him saying one thing and then saying another. I think the worst thing is that he is adamant that he did not lie when it's very clear that the story changed. It was different before, and him saying that wasn't lying. I think he has discredited himself in my mind on that one. Yeah, and what you're going to see, one of the pieces of, I hope I'm not talking out of line by saying this stuff, but one of the pieces of impeachment is his attorney right before the deal was solidified, Travis's current deal was solidified, filed a motion to suppress his statements because they were made under duress, and that Penny Phelps, in this motion to suppress, he says that he was falsely brought in for questioning by the cops. He didn't understand why he was being read his Miranda rights. Penny Phelps told him what to say. Basically, he was coerced into saying what he said. It wasn't true. So it's pretty damning. So they want it both ways. They want the evidence that he offered, but don't allow him to be cross-examined on his statements. This is bizarre. It's bizarre. I think consistently on all accounts, all commentators looking at this, everybody pro-tie, not pro-tie, whatever. It's bizarre. So Lauren, obviously, the way it works in the legal system, the defendant has no obligation whatsoever to testify, to present any evidence whatsoever. The state can rest, and immediately after, Tucker can rest. But is there anything out there that he could offer as an alibi, or was he just he was in the wrong circle of friends when something went down, and now he's being pinned with something? What is there? It's really for trials purposes. It's that simple. There's nothing. He was asleep at the warehouse when this happened. There's that. So. Yeah, he was asleep when this happened. The person named Scott Perryman, that name comes up with Travis having beers with him outside the warehouse. Scott Perryman's interviewed, interestingly, in a patrol car with the lead detective, Matthew Pitcher, and former prosecutor Colleen Dunn on the phone, and they're questioning him about the night of the crime. And, he ends up saying, well, because it said something about Tucker, and he's like, well, actually, you know what? Tucker was asleep upstairs when all this happened. He was asleep upstairs when Travis and I were downstairs and talking to the cops and everything. That never emerged. We got it in discovery, but there's no account. Yeah. And some of these witnesses aren't worth calling because they're a lot of these people are shady. It's Todd O'Quinn. The community seems like a pretty rough community. That the individuals we've seen, they've lived hard lives. They do some things that a lot of people don't live through, and this is their day in and day out. Well, also you have to remember a lot of people involved, a lot of the witnesses and people involved have criminal pasts or currently in the system. They're on probation. They're on parole. They're afraid to talk. Right. People are terrified of the police down there. They will railroad you so fast. The things I've seen in my research are shocking. And when you go talk to a witness, do they have incentive to talk because they're a paid informant? Do they have or are they going to be like a Roger? Poor Roger. I don't know why they called him, but how credible is he? I think he was drunk on the stand. It's hard, and I feel bad, like for real police who are looking at this. It's hard to investigate when people are not forthcoming and whatnot. So Roger didn't point the finger at Tucker at all, from my recollection. He said it wasn't him, or Paula said it. I think Paula's going to say it wasn't him. Roger says he didn't see. He was tangled up in the tarp a little bit. Yeah, Roger says the guy. The second guy, who was not the black guy, was about Tucker's height. Yeah, that's closest. He's had a difficult time on the stand, even identifying people like Matt. Had a difficult time remembering names, remembering who people were. So his story is, I would say that sadly, he was a fun person to watch on the stand just because he was so open, and the way he delivers his answers was entertaining. That he could care less. It was
very entertaining.
Right? He could care less about the whole court system and the pomp and circumstance and the order. He is who he is, and he's not ashamed of that at all. But at the same time, I didn't see anything out of his testimony that Travis would be worried about. The only thing would be that the one person was the same size as Travis. Or sorry, as Tucker. I'm mixing up all my T's.
Travis. So according to the police records, Travis and Ty are both 5'9". So I mean that makes it hard.
Yeah. Man.
But
Lauren, obviously we're hopeful that a fair trial is what comes out of here. We're big fans of justice. Clearly, yeah. I know where you stand. It's insightful for me to hear some of the stuff that you're telling me. I'm hoping that we get to see in court, and that the jury gets to see some of the evidence that you've talked about, or some of the things that you've talked about here, because what the jury sees is what the decisions can be made on. So,
and let's all hope Ty's on time.
Yes. Send him a message. He has.
I have.
Court starts at 1. Be there early. Court starts at 1. Be there early.
I've said it a million times.
Yeah, we give him a hard time about that. He shows up for late, but he's got his Starbucks.
I know. It's funny. You guys entertain me.
Lauren, thanks for that. I appreciate you reaching out to us, even though we've not always been the easiest on Tucker.
Okay.
And been wrong about even you. So thank you for clarifying us and giving us some space and grace to get that corrected, and appreciate the updates. Thank you very much. We look forward to moving forward and hopefully getting a little justice here.
Yep. Thank you for letting me talk.
Lauren, thank you. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Appreciate Lauren calling in. That is the defendant's wife in the Treehouse murder case. Let me unpin this message. Thank you very much. That was good. Wow. There's a lot. I mean, we probably could have talked all day. There's all sorts of things. I forgot. I was going to show her the. Let's see. Where's my picture? Hang on one second. I was going to show her our thumbnail. We're adding the donkey here. This is it's representing the judge, and this is not a political statement. But the judge is a little bit like Eeyore in how he responds to many things. But we're going to add a little bit of Eeyore to this to our thumbnail, as we're trying to graphically represent the events that are happening in the trial. So here is the judge. Let me flip this one. I want him facing the other direction. Or here is a graphic representing what we feel the judge's opinion, or what, I don't know how to say this. This is a graphical representation of what we feel the judge inwardly is thinking or feeling about this trial. So donkey's going to be over here. We're going to move that beer can just a little bit. There's our donkey. What are we covering up? Nothing crucial. All right, there we go. And move the $100 bill. There we go. All right, so there's our latest and greatest. We'll be using this new version. Donkey's a little small. Yours small though. There we go. All right. That being said, we go back here. Can we add some weed, please? No. I draw the line. We've already got crack in the picture. We have to draw the line somewhere. Becca says, I do not support the donkey. The reason Eeyore isn't happy donkey, right? The donkey's happy, but I don't have a graphic I can use of Eeyore. And Eeyore is, I believe, a trademarked image for, the Winnie the Pooh franchise, whoever holds that. So I have to be very careful to what images. That's why there are not brand names on the beer cans. So we have to. You are smiling. I'll look for a sad donkey. Okay, you guys convinced me. Let's see if there's a sad donkey. I don't want to resort. Oh my goodness, we have sad donkeys all over the place. You guys you should have told me that earlier. Here's a sad donkey. That's better. See if he can still sit right in here with amongst everything. It's a little big now. There we go. Is that better? Is that a better image? Sardanisms, I can draw one for you. Just realize if you draw one, it has to sort of be this style of art. So it can't be too realistic, and at the same time, it also can't be, too, line drawing. It has to sort of fit with the picture. Everyone say no on the donkey. How else do we describe the soul of the judge leaving his body through sighs? He's like, I can't think of another character or image other than Eeyore that would represent. He's cute though, says Jen. That's why I object. The one to the right of the blue one, he just looks like a blank stare. The one above him's bad as well. See, we can't get political, so we've got to be careful how this goes. Oh, somebody just sent me a donkey picture. No, that's like a fighting donkey. Who sent me this one? This is Stacy. Stacy, that's a fighting donkey. All right, we'll leave that where it is for now. We might make some changes at a later point. Okay, Pickles, not politics, right? Let's see. The Throne is Mine says, Recovery Addict, hi, RA family. You need to add a tiny gallery with a few little people with popcorn leaning in to try and see around the broad man blocking the screen, the TV screens from the video and evidence. There's lots we could put in here. Deflated judge picture. The judge has almost had his head down on his desk, and I'm not sure if you watched Tayo Toy's little Super Trial Tuesday thing, but he put together the clip, and the clip of the judge just guzzling whatever he had in his mug. Just the whole thing, just glug, 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 glug. That was pretty much, that tells all. All right. Banana Muffin says, I've been out of the loop. How's it looking so far for the guy? Tucker is the guy, Franklin Tucker, and he's the defendant. He's representing himself pro se. We found out from his wife today, thank you, Lauren, that one of the reasons that they decided to go pro se was that they knew that doing that would bring the eyes and ears of public scrutiny to this case, to a little trial down at the very bottom of Florida in the Keys. Suddenly it's on the national radar. It's got all of our attention, and arguably they're right. It's because a pro se defendant, our ears perk up saying, what? We've seen pro se before. That's crazy. And so here we are. And they're saying, yes, it is crazy, but it's crazy for a different reason. We don't have a defendant who is delusional. We don't have a defendant who is, just impossible to work with from a lawyer's point of view. We have fact patterns and investigation that may be questionable based on what we're hearing. All right, Sharon says Parole Board is live this morning. That's one we've wanted to check in for a while. They've been taking a little bit of a siesta or a break. Let's see. Oops, go back. Okay, let's see. Are they live right now? Oh, they are live right now. We'll see. They're not in the case right now, but we'll keep an eye on that. As soon as they start, we're going to jump in with the Parole Board because we were doing a little court hopping this morning. Killer was left-handed. We'll have to hear a little more of that, how that comes out. I missed that when it first came out, if that detail was brought out. Possibly the medical examiner will testify to something on that front. Mr. Opatorsa says, I'm concerned a man is gambling with his freedom, but I'm intrigued to see how it all plays out. This is quite interesting. I'm curious, and I don't want to put anything. I don't want to I don't want to be a factor in making this decision on any part of Tucker's. But I'm curious because one of the things that will come down the road that is coming here in the next few days is his decision whether or not he's going to testify in his own defense. And this always looks unique in a pro se situation because the judge, normally your attorney would question you and ask you questions, and you would tell your story, and then you would answer cross-examination. But where you were your own attorney, you have the weird little setup where, if the judge follows the traditional pattern, you would ask yourself a question and then answer it, and then ask yourself another question and then answer it. And that looks funny. And generally the judge says, I'm not going to do that. I'll let you just sort of tell your story. But at the same time, the other side's going to be throwing in objections, which you then have to counter. So as the witness, you're like, objection, and then you make your argument to the judge why you should be able to continue as a witness saying what you... It gets a little crazy. And honestly, for those of us that have watched a lot of courts, it's bizarre. So if that comes up, if Mr. Tucker feels at some point that he needs to connect all these dots by being on the stand, generally it's a bad idea. In most cases, I would say attorneys would say don't take the stand. It only opens you up to more problems. But the last, I think that the one case where we saw this working the best for the defendant, this was also a defendant accused of murder. That was in the Dean Cummings case, that out in the desert in the mobile home with the AR-15. He claimed self-defense and he testified in his own defense, and it was incredible. It was unbelievable. Even under cross-examination, he was amazing. And he ended up securing his freedom. And even though he had been held in custody for 2.5 years, he won and was released in that day. So I'm not sure how it's going to go here. The way the judge calls for the bailiff when his mug needs a refill is degrading. What does he do? Does he snap his fingers and be like, "Hey, garçon, drink here, fill her up"? We do have a bailiff who seems like his whole job is being a butler for the judge. Let's see. The Delphi Supreme Court case is wild right now. Oh, that's going on right now as well. I think there's a couple people following that right now. Let's see. We've got somebody calling in. Let's see who this is. Hello? Hello? They hung up. Oh, let's go. Let's jump over to the parole board because they're getting started. Looks like we have a corrections officer who might be a sports fan, Cowboys fan. Didn't they just get whooped? Ayden, didn't the Cowboys just get whooped recently? Looks like he's got a Cowboys license plate that says #1 fan. Okay, hang on. It always gets me when you have a... Okay, you've got a Cowboys license plate in a corrections officer. You guys know where license plates are made, right? You guys know where license plates are made. Did he have his inmates make himself a Cowboys fan license plate? Man. I'm just enjoying the backdrop here. It's got looks like some John Wayne. It looks like Louis L'Amour type images in the background. Interesting look. He's got the full beard version about what I have. He's got a little more brown where I've got black, but he's rocking the look. Can't wait for parole to begin here in just a minute. We'll follow this case as it happens. Susan Duncan says, I moved to a small town in Poor County. I can believe this. We don't see the corruption they can get away with when the local paper is in the pocket. Oh, man. That Fifth Estate should be keeping an eye on them. Yeah, so does he question himself? I don't know how the judge is going to rule that. Generally, they let him sort of free spool speak if Tucker decides to testify in his own defense. Selena, wonderful. You got your first chat certificate. I hope you love it. So good morning, RA, and everyone in chat. Marcy, thank you very much for being here. I'm sympathetic to why he didn't take the deal, but I'm afraid for him. So risky. Well, if he thinks he can prove that he didn't do it at all and he's being railroaded and there's no evidence to put him there, that would explain the decision to not take a deal where you have to admit guilt.
y'all see my video now?
I can see you. Hello, friend. How are you doing? Do you have your own photographer that's walking in front of you? I think he's pushing a cart. He's pushing a cart with a computer or a laptop of some sort on it. Yes, too soon for that. Still a Cowboy fan. Oh, we get to go outside. We get to go outside. Dude's pushing against the door, trying to get it open. Deanne B gifted a membership. That one went to Pam Graham. Congratulations, Pam. Thank you, Deanne. And this that we're watching right here, this is the Louisiana Board of Parole hearings. This is the other side of the court system. A lot of times we follow the news when someone gets arrested. We follow the court cases. They're arraigned and led through the criminal system. We follow the trial as the jury, generally the jury makes a decision as to guilt or innocence. And if they are convicted and they are sentenced to prison, they serve a length of time. And in almost all states, there is a point, usually prior to the full term of their sentence, where they have an opportunity to be let out on parole, and that hearing happens right here. We've got a call here. 1 second.
Call from Nosy Rosie.
Hey, Nosy Rosie. I'm sorry your hand's not doing well. Thanks for calling in. How are you feeling?
I'm kind of out of it, and I've kind of been pushing send, but I think I got timed out because I was asking if you could grow weed from the grass, not like as in the leaf, but I apologize if I was overdoing it.
You're asking for us to put drugs in the picture? I think we're going to keep...
I was asking...
Oh. Or just weed?
No, I was asking you to put like crack in the tree. That was genius. But I was asking like to do like a little like weed, like weeds that grow in the grass.
Okay, like dandelion type weeds, but
yes.
Something
but
other than cannabis sativa.
If I was offending.
Yeah,
no cannabis. We just want weed.
Okay, we might have to plant a few weeds in the yard. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I get untimed out?
I can't undo a timeout. Just hold your horses. It will undo itself. They vary in length.
Oh, okay.
Worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Let me see. Let me see if I can. Let me find someone to do a test on. Who do I test a timeout on? Is there anybody who needs one? Just 1 second.
The timeout of shame.
Okay, the options are worst case scenario. It's 24 hours. That's the absolute worst. Generally, it's between 10 seconds and 30 minutes. So if this is your first time out, it's probably smaller.
Okay. My right hand probably needs a timeout anyways.
A couple people are volunteering saying, I'll take a timeout. You can time me out. Okay.
Thank you all. I love you, Ari.
Thank you. Thank you, Nosy Rosie. Get feeling better, all right? Thanks for calling in.
Thanks. Have a good day.
We'll see you. Bye. All right. Yeah, timeouts happen. Please respect the mods. If they say drop it, or if we say drop it and you continue, or if there's just an argument going back and forth that's causing problems in chat and other people starting getting wrapped up in it, they'll just take care of it, and that's all right. Don't be offended. Just realize it's like a little slap on the hand. You got your name on the board. That's all.
Can you hear us,
Doesn't mean we
sir?
don't like you. Here we go.
Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
There we go. That's okay. Hey, officer, I wanted to thank you for accommodating us this morning. I know you've had a stressful morning there, and we appreciate you accommodating us. Would you introduce yourself for the record?
It's Agent Steve Everett.
The officer at St. Tammany, please.
Corporal Jonathan Lott.
Hi, Corporal Lott. Thank you so much. We are now at St. Tammany Parish Jail. It is Thursday.
It paused. I think their feed dropped. Only one of them looks.
No, you're not hearing that.
Yeah, we're not hearing anything. Yeah, they've got a bad connection there in Louisiana.
You're not hearing that. Just hold on a second.
2020.
They're having issues with on their side.
You think the state would be able to afford a faster internet connection? The Board of Parole.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Garner?
They need to stop downloading Lord of the Rings.
All right, good. Can you tell us your name and DOC number, please?
My name is Alonzo Dale Garner. My DOC number is 378383.
All right, and Mr. Garner, we're here for a revocation decision this morning. We're going to put up, well, do you have a parole revocation questionnaire there with you?
Do I have a what, ma'am?
Parole revocation questionnaire. Is the paper you're looking at, is that your signature at the bottom of that page?
Yes, ma'am.
That's dated October 27, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Based on your answers to those questions, Mr. Garner, it was determined you're not eligible for appointed counsel. So are you ready to proceed with the revocation this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And let me acknowledge we do have your parole agent, Steve Everly, who is here, and we're going to call on him in just a moment to hear what he has to say. But first, I'll read the allegations against you. And after each allegation, you'll be allowed to enter a plea, guilty or not guilty, or your choices. Then we'll have a conversation about your plea after we hear from the agent. Specifically, you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole. Condition 4A, which states you engaged in criminal activity associated with people who were known to be engaged in criminal activity and failed to refrain from the use of illegal drugs or alcohol, as evidenced by your admission on April 5th, 2022, to ingesting marijuana on or about March 15th of 2022. So how do you plead to violating that condition?
I plead guilty to it, but at the same time, I did not.
Okay, wait, we'll talk about it in a minute. I just want the plea first, okay? We'll have to make a statement at the end.
All right.
And then this is, again, condition number 4. It states you engaged in criminal activity associated with people who were known to be engaged in criminal activity and failed to refrain from the use of illegal drugs or alcohol, as evidenced by the drug screen administered on November 28th, 2022, which showed positive for marijuana. How do you plead to violating that condition number 4?
Plead not guilty.
Not guilty, okay. Condition number 10, and it states, you made a payment to your supervision fees on March 7th, 2023. Your last made a payment on March 7th, 2023, and are currently $1,240 in arrears on those fees. How do you plead to violating condition number 10?
I plead guilty.
Guilty? Did you say guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Next. Condition number 13, which is a special condition. At an office visit on September 29, 2023, you were found to be in possession of 2 cell phones, which you stated belonged to you. The first cell phone, a Motorola Moto Pure Phone, G Pure Phone, with number 225-46.
We don't share those numbers.
Tammany Sex Offender Registry. This phone had an active Facebook app under your name, was last accessed on September 12th, 2023, September 26th, 2023, and September 28th, 2023, and showed you have 13 friends. It appears this phone used mainly as your primary phone to log into Spectrum, McDonald's, ESPN Plus, Classmates.com, and to look up other sex offenders. Second cell phone, a Motorola G Play 2023 with cell phone number 064 is a T-Mobile phone and has a Google account under Dale53205 at gmail.com. You originally stated this phone belonged to Cody, but ultimately admitted it belonged to you. This phone is not listed with the St. Tammany Sex Offender Registry, and while completing a manual review of this phone through the Chrome history, it was discovered that this phone was the one you mainly used to log into the active dating site latinfields.com under the name of Dale G and many pornographic websites. Due to being on parole for supervision of criminal knowledge of a juvenile, forcible rape.
They're breaking up a little bit.
How do you plead to violating condition number 13?
Plead guilty.
Guilty. Okay. First, I want to thank Agent Everly for being here this morning. Sir, we'd like to hear what you have to say to us before I turn it over to Mr. Freeman.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Garner is a nice enough guy. I had no problems with him. There was some issues at the house, but we were dealing with them until he reported the office and we discovered a second phone. And what you read there is all what was on the phone. There was some search histories that were kind of disturbing, which are added to the back of the packet. The fact that he was on Facebook in Latin Fields were violations of his sex offender contract. And then that's basically the gist of it.
Okay.
Steve, you had pornographic websites on that computer, on his cell phone?
Say that again, Pete?
Did he have pornographic sites on it?
It was the searches. There was.
I'm going to have to mute this, guys. I'm going to have to mute this. I know where this is going.
There wasn't pornographic sites on there that he had logged in on one of the back of the packet. Those were all his search histories on that phone. The first phone had nothing on it that was of substances. It was one that registered with the sheriff's office. The second phone had all those. He had logged into all those websites. That's what he was searching for.
If they read these, I'm going to have to mute this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Garner, you did plead guilty to the charges, which I respect your honesty. Why did you have the second phone? You want to tell me the truth?
Sir, to be honest with you, I really don't know because I had got the phone from somebody. They said, man, just contact me through that. I said, all right. I was supposed to go get it registered, but I never went. And at the time I was supposed to go, I was called up to the office by Steve. At that time, hey, everything went haywire. I apologize for everything. Right now, I don't want to go back to prison. I just did 25 years and a half. Man, I'm frustrated right now. I'm hurt. It's like I'm missing my job. My job is calling. I don't even much have a place to stay right now. I'm just hurt.
Going back.
I'm sorry for everything I'm putting y'all through. I'm 53 years old, man. I'm sorry.
And what job do you have?
I had a job at Popeyes. I'm working at Popeyes. I make $14 an hour. I'm paying $100 a month. I'm trying my best to stay in line. You know, by having an other phone and everything, that messed me up a lot. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I got no problem with Steve. Steve is one of the best parole officers I had so far. I only had 2. So, man, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. We got that. Any questions?
Yeah. So how long had you had that second phone?
About a couple of days at the most.
Who's Cody?
That's my boyfriend.
Well,
it's not his phone. It's my phone, man. I'm sorry about that too. It's my phone.
yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say to us?
I'm just saying, man, I don't want to go back to prison. I'm so serious. I've been here 100 and something days. I'm hurt. I'm tore down. I'm broken. I'm missing my job. I don't know if I still got it. I hope I do. I don't have a place to stay, so I got to find me another place to stay. I just want out of here. On the real, I just want out of here.
So he used drugs and violated parole.
I move for an executive session.
We have a motion and second for
Okay, that
executive
means
session.
the camera gets turned off.
So it's unanimous vote. So Mr. Garner will be in executive session for a few moments to discuss confidential matters. Stand by, we'll be right back.
All right.
This guy had parole, conditions of parole. Conditions of parole.
Our first guy, they just went to an executive session and they're
Failure to register his phone, used the phone in ways that was a violation of his parole. Apparently there was some drug use that he sort of admitted to in part, but he wanted to explain a little bit. He's been held for 100 days in jail, is now getting this parole hearing. I'm pretty sure I can tell him he doesn't still have his job at Popeyes. When you miss it for 100 days, they've sent you your final check at that point. He might be able to apply and get back there if they know the situation, if they're open to hiring that. But I think he's sorry he got caught, for sure. He doesn't have an excuse or reason for why he broke the parole. He's been honest, but he lied initially about the phone. I don't know. We have seen the parole board grant leniency in situations where I thought no leniency was warranted. And then we've also seen the parole board come down hard on somebody who thought surely if there was ever a case for mercy, this would be the one. And so I cannot guess at what they're doing right here, but they're clearly discussing this. He's been in for 25 years. Yeah. Can someone tell me in 200 characters or less why the Delphi case is in the Indiana Supreme Court? What's the issue? Oh, wow. 200 characters or less? That's a good challenge. Let's see that in chat. I'd like to see a synopsis. We won't hold you to it, but basically, how many characters can you chat? It's basically 2 chats, right? 2 chat messages. Yeah, this should be out of executive session here. It's probably going to be a short one. They each share their opinion a little bit, decide what they're going to do. They probably all know how each other's going to vote before they come back here. So they know the outcome at the beginning. So Richard Allen wants his old lawyers. Stevie, I did watch a lot of Rob and Greg Anderson. I also watched a lot of Dr. Joe and Greg Anderson. Altogether, Greg was on live streams for over 6 hours on Tuesday. It was crazy. Judge moved counsel, conflict arose. You guys your summation is quite short. Chad Daybell hearing. I don't know exactly which one this is about. It's not trial yet, but there's so many hearings that happen before trial. Let's see if I can get an update for you here. Okay, they're coming back right now. Hearing to be held today on a motion to withdraw. The attorney wants to withdraw. That's it.
All right, Mr.
His attorney is not death penalty certified.
Mr. Garner, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear me? Okay, we are back to regular session. We're prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman will be voting first.
Okay, Mr. Garner, you pled guilty to all the violations. I know the sex offender contract is read with you and gone over several times. As you say, Mr. Steve is a very good agent. And I know he followed you closely. But
Can't hear you.
But
Can't hear you.
you know, some of the sites you were trying to get on those to them.
Condition number 4 and special condition number 13, also major violations in your sex offender contract. Therefore, I'm revoking your supervision.
Mr. Garner, I do concur with my colleagues. You pled guilty to violation number, condition number 4 and number 13. So my vote today also is to revoke your parole. Does that conclude our business there? We have one more at St.
So he's revoked. He's going back to prison. That's the outcome there. That was pretty much a done deal. When you have terms of parole and you violate them and you plead guilty and you don't have a good reason for it, you're like, I don't know, I don't want to go back to prison. That's how it ends up. I'm frustrated that the defendant had that whole process happen over Zoom. I don't know, for a bad connection. I do not like that. I'm okay with Zoom, but I think
give me 1 second. I'll come back and holler at you.
If a defendant is going to appear over Zoom, if it's going to be like that, I think the quality should be there. That just like the court process. Why am I hearing another voice? Oh, it's outside it's Mrs. R.A. How are you doing? I'm hearing another voice and I shouldn't have any other volume turned on. So we'll wait for their next person to appear. So here's what we have. The best synopsis I saw here from the Delphi case is evidence got leaked. Judge found the defense to be ineffective and a problem. Lawyers are fighting back, and it's escalated. That's what's happening in Delphi in the Supreme Court hearing in the John Pryor and Chad Daybell issue. John Pryor wants to withdraw from the case. He's been Chad Daybell's attorney this whole time, and now he's saying I need to withdraw. It's a death penalty case, and I'm not death penalty certified, and he needs 2 attorneys to represent him. So we'll see. It was a death penalty from the beginning. I don't know why he didn't get certified. I don't know why he didn't do more along there. But it seems he rode the gravy train as long as he could, from my perspective, and now he's asking to get off before he has to do any real work. Or Chad ran out of money. Yes, Chad ran out of money and he can't pay him anymore.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I need your help here. I don't know what this is.
Let's see.
Sorry, guys. We are trying to list our apartment here and or the Airbnb, and it is asking for technical stuff like, tell me about your smart TV. I'm like, we have one? I don't know. I don't know how to describe that. So I'm giving it to Scott, and he's thinking about how to describe our smart TV.
I know it's like 58 inch.
I don't know.
I think it's 58 inch. I'm going to put 58 inch in here. It's not huge, but it's just an apartment for 2 people. Okay. Okay. I'm going to hand that to you. Hang on 1 second. All right. It'll have DVD player. We need one of those out there. All right. That's all. Okay. So where were we? We're going on a tour of the jail. That roof you see right there, that's called B-deck. By the way, I used to make and sell that. B-decking. It's a steel. Typically, it's about 18 gauge. Sometimes a little bit thicker, but it's strong enough that you can pour concrete over the top of it, and it will support. It's great, strong roofing. It's very hard to cut through. And And it's painted. Normally it comes galvanized. All right. The let's see. Mr. Daybell was not getting paid. Now he wants out. He's broke. I believe I saw something that that Chad Daybell like signed over his house to his attorney, like as payment. Did you guys hear that? Is that something real? Yeah, Chad John Pryor even now owns Chad's house. Paula, yes, Lauren did mention that he's been late a couple times. She gives him a hard time about it. Vicky says serial number. Use the description on Google. That is great advice. Hey, Mrs. R.A. That's great advice. Let's see, 55 and 60 inch. It might be 55 inch. Reverend Beasley, I'm going with 55. It's a small thing, but, you know, it's 3 inches between friends. Size and brand. What is it and what services it has? It's basically got high-speed internet. It's got 2 gigabit high-speed fiber internet to a TV. All right, what are y'all watching? We're watching the parole hearings, but apparently parole hearings have taken a break while officer I don't know who is taking us on a tour of the jail facility. A silent tour. Dream of Laundry. Is there any job you have not had? Dream of Laundry. I have been a pooper scooper in a parade. You know what a pooper scooper is? It's the guy with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. And they go behind the horses. I've been that. That was a great job until the horses decided that they chose that moment to make me work. And then the job got much worse. Because when you're pushing a wheelbarrow full of horse stuff, the smell just doesn't go away. You can't escape it. You're following it everywhere you go. Let's see. So yeah, I've had a couple fun jobs. Let's see, what is another fun one? I've been a security guard for an event around the Olympics. That was fun. Patting people down, telling them, no, sir, actually, you can't bring that gun in here. I'm going to need you to go out and put that in your car. That was fun. You're forever downwind. It's a rough life. Oh, I think we're here. ...2002 winter. Even got a jacket with a nice little logo and stuff on it. Let's see. Vicky says I got hired as a creative writer for an OnlyFans model. That was interesting. Wow. Yeah, I haven't done anything like that. But
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear?
This is so bad. This is on the parole board too. This is. I'm going to call them out and say this is not acceptable. This is not justice. The justice system should not work like this for anybody. You should never show up for your parole hearing and not be able to hear anything that's said to you, and they can barely hear what you say to them.
I don't see us moving.
I can.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Herbert.
He's trolling them.
He must not be able to see us either. Can you hear me?
I can cut cement in bare feet. I've done that.
What? Can you hear us?
Today's the 17th, sir? Yes. No, 18. 18. That's correct.
Does he have a phone?
Hello?
Vicky says, thanks for the rabbit hole with the fake Brit guy. Oh, Another
Yeah,
fun
there's
fact, he faked his own death.
No, I can't hear y'all at all. Hold on, let me check my connection real quick.
It's not your connection, it's the volume.
Can y'all hear us?
The jail connection is fine. The jail
Yes.
connection is wonderful.
All right.
Can you hear us? Maybe can we do it on the phone? Speaker. Can they see us?
Yes, we can see y'all. For whatever reason, our external speaker stopped working.
Yeah. Do you mind if we do this over the phone? Can Mr. Herbert hear us if you put it on speaker?
Yeah, you're on speaker. I just have external speakers from my laptop.
Can
So
you
it
hear
can be louder.
Mr. Herbert? Okay. All right. Well, we'll do it over the phone. Mr. Herbert, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number. Mr. Herbert?
Now it's going to loop.
Talk to him,
man. Hey, I'm hard to hear, but I can hear.
He can't hear. This should be in person. I don't know. This is bad. Fake Brit guy. Yeah, they just gave up. Parole board's like, we're done. We're out of here. And we're actually going to be going to lunch here in just a minute, so we're going to bail on that with that audio issue. That's going to take that. That's our cue to leave. The fake Brit guy. For those that didn't follow, there was a case. This is a case out of Utah County. This is right just south of where Corey Richens' trial is taking place, because that's in Summit County, and north, quite a ways north, maybe 150 miles north of where the 8-passenger stuff, the Jody Hildebrandt issue is happening. So, but still in Utah. But this gentleman, he's charged with a sexual violation. I believe it was a rape charge. He fakes his own death and flees the country and goes to Scotland. We extradite him back. He never admits to being the guy who it is, even though we've identified him with his fingerprints, right? He says that's not him. He's got a new name. He comes back and he's speaking to the judge with an accent, like a poor British accent. He's all milady and everything else. That's not how they talk. I'm sorry. They're not like, yes, milady. No, this isn't like a Knight's Tale. But anyway, he comes back, fake British accent, won't admit to his own name, has a new birth date supposedly, and just about gets the judge to think I've got the wrong person. But no. Anyway, so that's going to move forward. That's out of Utah. That's going to be quite interesting. I heard this. We talked about it on Tuesday, and then yesterday I heard about it on Fox News. So it's going national. How many of chat has served on a jury? I've never even been summoned. Let's see. Broken Baker introduced me to your channel. Eris, thank you very much. We've raided Broken Baker twice. I feel so bad, Eris, because when we raid Broken Baker, you know what happens? Generally, I raid him because he's live at the same time we are. He tends to take a little longer to wrap up after a case than we do. And so I look online, and I'm like, oh, Broken Baker's on. He's talking about the same case. Let's raid him. And I jump in right as he's like doing his outro video. And we'll, there might be a bunch of people that join, and suddenly he feels like we've got, all these people just came to join. I can't just ditch them right now. And so he ends up, even though he was trying to quit, ends up talking for like another hour, just trying to, welcome and thank people and then redirect it. And like yesterday, he redirected us to, I think it was Surviving the Survivor. I don't know who we went to. I missed the final jump. But Broken Baker, a great channel. It needs to be bigger than what it is. He's got like 1.9 K followers right now, subscribers. It needs to be bigger. He does a great job and has some great guests on there. Never received a jury summons, but have received a subpoena as a witness in a murder trial. I have been a witness in a traffic court. Is that the guy that said he was tattooed while he was in surgery, Nicholas, somewhat? I didn't know about that part, but there was something about he was fingerprinted while he was unconscious or something. Some weird things. Weird things going on. One jury, when I was 22 years old, conspiracy to commit aggravated murder was the charge. Whoo! At 22. That was eye-opening, I bet. I've been on three juries 3 times, and it was a coroner's jury. I don't even know what that is, Donald King. Summoned 3 times, never served because I couldn't be away from my job that long. Financial hardship, says Dusty Den. You figured out how to not get picked. Been summoned twice, called for duty 1 time. Thankfully, I didn't have to serve. Child manslaughter. Ooh, that would have been a tough case. Let's see. 0 juries. Whenever called, my employer sought my exemption because my professional eligibility. I don't know what the exemption is, but your job got you off the hook. Jury for a civil case, medical malpractice. Living ghost. 1 civil car crash case, got to deliberate. 2 civil false detention case, dismissed as an alternate. What a sad outcome. 3. Oh, Mrs. R.A. needs me again. 3, criminal assault case settled at last minute when mom showed up to testify against the kid. Ooh. Here's Mrs. R.A.
Sorry, I have a question. I actually just really need him to do this part for me because he took all the pictures of the unit, and I don't know where those pictures went. They're not on the cloud. So here's my question, guys. With everything that we have witnessed recently, with the juries being attacked and, all the different ways that they treated Juror 1 terribly, and then the situation that's going on in the Murdaugh trial, I know that there has been a lot of talk about airdrop. Awesome. Okay. There's been a lot of talk about people not wanting to be on the juries. And I mean, I see that. I get that. But by the same token, my question is, after watching what happened with Judge Carroll and seeing things as they've sort of played out, have you changed your mind about that? Do you feel more willing to serve on a jury now? Or do you feel like, oh, Scott remembered he has another mic?
I'm not muted anymore.
Or do you guys still feel like being on a jury has changed so fundamentally that you just really don't want to have any part of that at this point?
And I'm giving her headphones, even though she can't hear anything but me.
Not worth it financially.
Now she can hear. All right. So let's see. We have a couple. Can we maybe see Mrs. R.A.? Well, she needs to bring her chair over and come sit in here. So.
Mrs. R.A. is about to run out and go do errands, and I'm eating a fruit snack right now. So there I am.
She's here. It's proof. We've both been on the screen at the same time. She exists. Not worth it financially to serve on a jury. Shells, I would still love to be on a jury. It didn't affect me. Spent a couple of weeks on call for the coroner's jury, but I have a narcolepsy, and that alone makes it just impossible.
That would probably limit a lot of parts of your life.
I would probably fall asleep on a jury.
You kind of fall asleep all the time. Scott tells me that I have a really soothing voice, but I think this is just a lie, that he just really is not interested in what I have to say. So he just falls asleep when I talk.
You guys, how do I answer this previous question? If you guys could bail me out here. Do we start trial at 12:01? We start at 1, so we have 1 hour. That's what we're going to say. We're going to go to lunch. We have 1 hour before the Treehouse murder trial starts. It was an amazing day. We had Lauren call in, which is the wife of the defendant in this case, and she gave us some insight into that. It was quite insightful. Answered a couple of the questions, including as to why he is defending himself. But yeah, do you see how I transitioned? I just didn't even answer at all. It's like pleading the fifth.
Deny. Hey, Steve up there a little bit ago said that he was going to serve on a jury no matter what, that the craziness did not affect him. And I think that it just shows such a sense of courage and really tenacity in the face of just kind of the American experiment. Sometimes the American experiment is super exciting and we get to have all of our freedoms, and sometimes it's scary because it doesn't work, it goes sideways. So I really like that there are people out there who say, this isn't pretty, but I'm going to serve on the jury no matter what. So I also understand people who are like, whoa, this is outside of my comfort zone. But I really do honor people like Steve who say, it doesn't matter, I'm serving.
Yeah, we could add one more case to the juror number 1 situation, because the Murdaugh trial looks like all the jurors are going to be called in and questioned in that one. So that's going forward. My pal Sal Vintage, welcome to the gallery. Thank you so much. Look at that colored courthouse, changing colors. Appreciate your support.
And I did not actually watch this video, but I saw something by Lawyer He said that a juror was put in jail for something. He's like, are we arresting our jurors now? So I don't even know what that's about. But there is certainly a feeling of fear in our community.
Hey,
Oh.
Joe, let's go says, did you see what happened to the juror who's been jailed for 179 days for causing a mistrial on purpose?
Oh, you can only
She
get away
didn't
with that in
want
books,
to be
guys.
sequestered. Yeah. It's a bad deal. Peter Tragos did a great job covering that one. That's a great one. All right, we are going to take a break. We have lunch. When we come back, you'll have our thumbnail. This thumbnail will be up. Watch for that. We'll put it up here in about 5 minutes. But we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with the Treehouse murder trial. It's still going to be spicy. We've got a little more information. We've got some more perspective here. I'm waiting for evidence, which apparently the evidence does not come. I'm going to be disappointed at the end of the state's trial if they rest without a bit of circumstantial evidence when they have all the physical evidence. This to me is securely still in the reasonable doubt category. So we look forward to that. All right. Anything else that we have to talk about right now?
Yeah, I've got all sorts of things to talk about, but I have to take kids to work.
Yeah, I'm just going to mute Mrs. R.A. Start the music and get ready for lunch. You guys, thank you very much. It's been a fun morning, very insightful. We got a lot of things done and a lot of things that we didn't do that we should have done. So we're behind as usual, but it's good. We've got more time. The court starts at 1 o'clock. Please be back here a little early. We'll be back about 12:45. You got 45 minutes, 42 minutes now officially to get your lunch done and then be back here. We'll get the window open. If you want to win and be first in chat, like Golden Girl did this morning, all you need to do is click the subscribe button, ring the bell, and when you hear or see that notification, respond immediately and be first person to type whatever it is you want in chat. That's all it takes. Could be a letter, could be a sentence, could be a whole paragraph. You get a paragraph in and win, that's like a special award right there. But hope that works for you. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again in about 40 minutes. 40 minutes. We'll see you with the update from the Treehouse murder trial. It's going to be great. We'll see you guys. Be good to each other. Bye.
I object.
I was kicked back, taking it easy.
We're going to portal over to Brandy. We're portaling over to Brandy, guys.